Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 4 of the British Drift Championship 2018. We are here, I'm joined by Eddie Power, and we are here at Three Sisters Circuit in Wigan. Eddie, we just see a heated qualifying session where we whittled 56 drivers down to just 32, and now those guys go head-to-head in competition to find out who's going to be the winner, who's going to be victorious and take the top step on that podium.
Yeah, well, look, this is what it's all about. Battle action is, what drifting, what we come to see. Qualifying. Look, it's a thing that we like to just get out of the way nice and early, but it was to a very, very high standard, and the qualifying sessions have been, growing in competitiveness as the championship has gone on, and this one was certainly, didn't disappoint. We have now 32 drivers left on the grid, and looking ahead at some of the battles here, in particular, our top 4 drivers, Alistair Sutton and Lee Scott on the same side of the bracket, Ryan Caldwell and Hayden Cruikshank on the other side of the bracket. Sutton has a little bit of a fight on his hands, and if he's going to do it today, if he's going to keep himself in this fight, it's going to be hard work for him. Yeah,
he's going to really have to pull it out the bag this weekend. But Eddie, you know what? There's no point talking about it. I know Wigan are pumped. Wigan, are you ready for your top 32? Yeah, they're pretty excited. Well, I'm ready. I know you guys at home have been patiently waiting for this, so let's get down onto the start line and see our first battle of the day. And it will be your first place qualifier, Tomas Falvey, to take on Lisa Branch. So, Lisa Branch getting inside that top 32, 32nd place nonetheless, doing it, but made it count, and she's in there, and now she is in the chase position against the man who looked unstoppable.
He did, but, so often we see the top qualifier go out in the top 32, and Tomas Falvey, while he's put in a very strong qualifying session and looks very confident, it's in the battles that sometimes he starts to make mistakes, and in that chase position, he's made errors in the past. That type of thing will be on his mind. Now, we've also seen Tomas Falvey that can podium, so it's about what Tomas Falvey's going to show up. Certainly Lisa Branch, while she's down the order in 32nd position, she has scored highly to get into that top 32. So here we go. First battle has left the line, and already a little bit of a gap opens up as Tomas Falvey looks to try and pull away, but Lisa Branch looks to try and stay with him. We spoke about Tomas Falvey being really fast, but a big error for Lisa Branch, and handing a 10-0 advantage from where I'm sitting in to Tomas Falvey. She has stopped spinning, or stopped drifting, and has spun out of the first run. So you can just see, knowing that she's up against the top qualifier and one of the fastest drivers through the circuit, Tomas Falvey taking that 10-0 advantage going into the second half of this one. He will just need then to make a clear pass of the circuit in order to qualify into the top 16.
Yeah, listen, Tomas Falvey, he did what he had to do, put in a very good lead run. That's what the judges were looking for. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what happened with Lisa Branch. You can see a nice initiation, starts to get close to Falvey. Falvey, nice transition. Lisa transitions, but looks like she timed it wrong and was going to hit the cone on that first front clipping point. Backed out of it ever so slightly, and hit a bit of understeer. Listen.
Yeah, and of course,
I know nerves will be playing a big part of that battle for her.
Yeah, and if you're new to drifting and you're unfamiliar with the scoring system or how it works, we have our 3 judges, and we put the lead driver and the chase driver up against each other. The higher qualifier leads for the first round, and in the second battle we switch them around. The lead driver's objective is to just do what they did in qualifying, get that 100-point run. The chase driver's objective is just to mirror exactly what the chase driver is doing. If you are to spin or go off course, you can score a 0 and essentially hand a 10-0 advantage to the other driver. So that is where we are going into the second half of this one. Lisa Branch needs a big mistake from Tomas Falvey. Of course, in the lead position, very hard to try and force an error from the chasing driver, and Tomas Falvey knows that he can sit in the pocket here a little bit, hang back, and just avoid making any mistakes. But he is looking a little bit aggressive, tries to make the dive onto the door as they come into that. Oh, and a big error from Tomas Falvey, and driving straight for quite a significant amount of the circuit. And we talked about Tomas Falvey in the chase position. Could we be looking at it one more time?
Well, I mean, listen, it's important to note that it's hard to chase a bad lead line, and for me, Lisa didn't have the perfect lead line. She made quite a few errors, and listen, unfortunately, I think her destiny hangs in the balance here. So there you go, slide them right for Lisa, left for Tomas Falvey, and Tomas Falvey gets the win and goes through. No need to go to the judges. Listen, Lisa spinning out on the first run, and errors in the first half. Tomas Falvey, an unchaseable lead. So listen, Tomas Falvey did everything he could, and he advances through to the top 16.
which makes it, which means we move on now to our next battle. Alistair Sutton in a very important battle. We spoke about this at the end of qualifying, coming up against Andy Frost, and the Iceman with an opportunity now after the reigning Drift Cup champion coming into the BDC round of 4, now going up against Alistair Sutton, who sits in 2nd position. And you know what? I think he's going to be feeling confident. Certainly won't be feeling outmatched in terms of machinery.
No, listen, and one thing to also note is both these guys have been Drift Cup champions. Alistair Sutton, the 2017 Drift Cup champion. Can he get taken down by Andy Frost? Andy Frost, a
big
nice
aggression,
dive.
yeah, big aggression from Andy Frost, and then has to back out of it, but manages to keep this car going now. An opportunity for another dive, but driving quite a substantial amount of the circuit in a straight line, Ian.
Yeah, listen, look, Andy Frost struggling to chase a slower car. But for me, Alistair Sutton not doing a whole lot wrong in that lead position. Frost, look, gets himself on the inside of the circuit, stays with it, almost makes contact with Sutton as Sutton comes across the finish line. A scrappy battle. I think Frost was a little bit forceful, tried to show his presence a little bit too much, and that could have hurt his score, because if you watch Alistair Sutton's lead, although it wasn't very fast or big impact, he's still done everything he needed to do, and he fulfilled all those clipping zones.
Yeah, look, and you can if you're going to talk about over-aggression, you can see it in a bundle load right at the...
Look at that big handbrake straight line initiation onto the door, and although the aggression is good, and it's what we like to see, unfortunately for me, Frost just, forcing himself too much.
But I think you've got to remember as well that these guys, especially Andy Frost, very early in his career, at the moment. And
Yeah.
while he is a Drift Cup champion, this is a new level, and try to be aggressive and get in the door on such a tight technical circuit. Very easy to get caught out, and I think that's what's happened to him. He knows going up against 2nd place in the championship, Alistair Sutton, that he had to push the boundaries. He had to try and force an error. I think it's worked against him though on this occasion.
So, as you can see, both those guys on the line are ready to rock and roll. Judges just discussing the first half of the battle for this one before we get the thumbs up to go. For the second run, it will be Andy Frost to lead and Alistair Sutton to give chase. You can see that chase car, Eddie, is allowed to jump the start line, if you like, a little bit.
Yeah, they can jump that start line, and then, of course, they do have to tuck back in behind the lead car. And Alistair Sutton, he might have spotters on the radio telling him that he has a bit of an advantage, but he'll know he needs to bring it to the door here at some point to Andy Frost, and this is the ideal time to make your attack, just when you're getting on the power and you won't be lifted again. But right now, for me, not getting the proximity, you know what? I think this one could be a little bit close one way or another.
Yeah, well, we're about to find out. It does look like the judges know exactly what way this one's going to go as they put the scores into the board. You can see our start line or finish line marshal, should I say there?
Sutton may not have had that proximity, but I suppose by the same account, not making the errors in the chase position.
Exactly that. So we wait for the judges' scores to drop in for this one. Don't forget, if you're sitting at home now wondering what to do tomorrow, no point wasting time. Get down tomorrow. Tickets on the gate all day and all weekend. Tomorrow will be our pro competition, and we'll see the best from around the UK and Ireland go head to head, and even from Europe. Some of them guys taking the trip. But decisions in, a left for Frost, right for Sutton. Who's going to take it through top 16? Kieran says Frost. David says Frost. It's unanimous. Andy Frost gets the win and goes through. Eddie, we was wrong in our judgment. Judges, we throw it back to you on that one. Me and Eddie seeing it completely different.
Good run there. Alistair in the lead position had a reasonably good lead run. Andy had a better chase in that one and took an advantage in the first one. The second one, Andy had a really good lead run, and Alistair made a mistake below just after the transition as they headed out onto the last pull. But that was his major mistake there. So that one was kind of squared up. So he took it on the first one. Andy.
So there you go,
So
Eddie.
there you go, yeah. And look, as you say, just that lack of aggression from Alistair Sutton. But Ian, that is huge in terms of the championship and where it could end up going. We will do, a few sums in the background, and obviously all eyes will be on the Lee Scott-Matt Fountain battle. We move along to our next battle, though, which will see Matt Walker taking on Stuart Egdal.
Yeah, Matt Walker, the giant killer. He's been around for quite a while now, and he's been known to take down some of the best in the game. He sits alongside Stuart Egdal, and he will, of course, lead them in being the higher qualifier. So it will be Walker to lead in Egdal for a spot in top 16. Now, Egdal's opportunity to shine.
Yeah, but I think Egdal, in terms of machinery, has the advantage here, but Walker has just looked so confident qualifying in 8th position and has looked really steady on this line. You can just see able to pull the gap here because of that, and so fluid throughout the circuit. And unfortunately for Stuart Egdal, not able to provide an answer to the pace of Matt Walker in that E30 BMW.
Yeah, so Matt Walker, you can see there, like you say, Eddie, technical driving was a bit of a key advantage there, you know, sticking to the line, faster option around the track, put him in a very good situation. And unfortunately, Egdal, he made a big error as he transitioned into that lunar bend after that outside zone 4.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been a good season for Matt Walker, and as you said, look, when you talk about machinery, he doesn't have a whole lot at his disposal, but he uses his driver ability.
Yeah, and a wobble there you could see from Stu Egdal, and again there, you know, it looked like he was panicking a little bit. You could see Walker getting away, trying to maybe shallow it out or try and make some corrections to get on the door, but unfortunately, judges will be watching that one.
Yeah, I still don't think that he has that car fully set up in a way that he's totally comfortable. I think he'll take a lot of you know, knowledge and data back, you know, in the off season and use it to try and figure out a correct setup for each particular round. I think some rounds suit the way the car is set up, some particular tracks don't. So, but the second half of this battle is still alive and up for grabs. But can Egdal get himself back into it? I certainly don't think he has the pace to outrun Matt Walker here. Could Walker struggle chasing down what appears to be a slower car?
So Egdal initiates, Matt Walker fires a car in behind, Egdal washing off track,
yeah,
dropping
errors
wheels.
very quickly, creeping into the run from Egdal, and Walker doing the correct thing, I think, you know, holding back, and I think he expected just to launch his attack at this point of the track. They switch it back and get back on the accelerator. Walker right there with him, and I think, you know, look, again, a little bit of a waiver from Stuart Egdal. Walker brings the fight and contact as they cross the line.
Yeah. Yeah, and Matt Walker there taking off the rear bumper on Stu Egdal's car. Quite significant contact as well, Eddie, from the look on the front of Matt Walker's vehicle.
Yeah, let's hope that nothing that could have caused any damage to any suspension components or steering arms. Looks as though it's just cosmetic. But yeah, not what you want, contact going over the line. We wait for the judge's decision. I think it's pretty straightforward. For me, I'd imagine Matt Walker be going through Kieran, David and Ryan. Kieran says Matt Walker, David says Matt Walker, and Ryan says Matt Walker. It's unanimous. Matt Walker progresses into the top 16. Pretty clear-cut one, judges, over the course of the 2 runs. Matt Walker getting the call from you.
Yeah, that was pretty clear cut there. Walker with a good lead. Egdal not bringing the chase there at all. He was slow to get onto actually into drifting there. Also quite a bit of sort of floundering from him, which left him behind. And then his lead run wasn't very good. Matt stayed with him, which was really impressive that he managed to stay with him. And you know, Matt took it over both runs.
So there you have it. Matt Walker progresses to the top 16. We move along. Next battle lining up, Paul Cunnington and Oliver Bolton, and Paul Cunnington qualifying inside that top 10, feeling very confident and looking really impressive out on circuit in that S14. Oliver Bolton, well, you know what, he's got a bit of a job in his hands here, but certainly has the ability behind the wheel of that Funk Motorsport 180 SX.
Yeah, so off the line, you can see Oliver Bolton now chasing down Paul Cunnington. Paul Cunnington spoke to me and Eddie earlier and said he was absolutely on it. So it's now the job of Oliver Bolton, the Funk Motorsport driver, to try and take him down. A little bit of separation here. Both guys making a nice dive into out zone 3. And look at this now. Oliver Bolton, attempts to make a dive, but gets himself caught up on circuit. As Bolton again finds himself on the wrong part of the circuit, popping wheels on the curb. Makes one more dive, but shortcuts the edge of the circuit and almost goes 4 wheels off. Oliver Bolton there looking a little bit desperate to try and take the win. As you can see on the replay, Cunnington in that lead position, not really putting a foot wrong. Very nice lead line. Very shallow transition and straightens ever so slightly as he initiates into outer zone 3. But then Bolton gets into it, has to slow down, a very scrappy battle. As Cunnington puts in a good run, you know, ish, but not as tidy as what we'd like to see. Bolton, though, he just made more mistakes personally.
Yeah, and I think, you know, going up against, you know, someone who's qualified in the top 10, you know you've got to push that bit more, and he's going to have a chance at, you know, just redeeming himself here now from the lead position. as they get ready to line back up, and Malks will stop them just at the start line, wait for the orders that the track is clear and ready for action, and then gives these two guys the thumbs up before we see them out on track. And you can see Cunnington again looking quite confident and happy behind the wheel. Oliver Bolton, a picture of concentration. So two contrasting figures, and straight onto the door goes Cunnington, but it costs him a little bit as he makes a little bit of an error and drops back. Now, can Oliver Bolton reopen this battle? Can he bring himself back into it as Cunnington looks to reignite the charge? But again, Ian, big gap opens up here. Could we see this one be turned around?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm honest with you. Oliver Bolton did a fairly good job, and again, another incident across the line as Paul Cunnington avoids a massive accident with the back end of Oliver Bolton's S13. So we pull those guys up. Judges deliberate in this one. Is the separation enough to overturn the loss in the first half for Oliver Bolton? Or does Paul Cunnington take it overall? Well, the judge's decision is in. Who's going to take it through to the top 16? Slide them left for Bolton, right for Cunnington. Kieran Hines says Cunnington. David Egan says Paul Cunnington, and Ryan makes it unanimous. Paul Cunnington gets the win, advances through. Scrappy battle there for you guys.
Yeah, scrappy is the word, Ian. First run, Cunnington has a small straighten on the transition in the centre of the circuit, but he has an okay lead. Bolton, he was okay up until he dived into the lunar corner. He dived, he panicked, he kind of had a bit more room than he thought. He shut down a little bit, lost momentum, went up on the curb again. Some big errors there, so an advantage to Cunnington on the first run. Second, Bolton actually does pretty good. However, he drops a wheel, clipping zone 4, and then as he's nearly coming towards the finish line as well, which was enough to draw it even with Cunnington's not great chase, but nothing majorly wrong, was just okay. So over the two, Cunnington taking the advantage from the first run.
So there you have it from the judges, and we move along to a very important battle. Lee Scott taking on Matt Fountain, and one that Alistair Sutton will be looking on with a very keen eye. Important to note here that if Lee Scott scores 20 points or more today, then Alistair Sutton cannot win the championship, even with a win at the final round. However, that doesn't mean that Hayden Cruikshank and Ryan Caldwell can't win the championship. So we are almost ready to go. Lee Scott to lead in Matt Fountain. Matt Fountain, can he be the one man to do what none have been able to do so far this season? Take down Lee Scott, where Scott is back in his own car, and you can just see how quick he is through this circuit in with this vehicle.
Yeah, Matt Fountain looked like he was napping on the line there, Eddie, and didn't get up and go. Lee Scott took the full advantage of Matt Fountain and absolutely drove away. Fountain not really putting a foot wrong in that chase position, but just for me, the separation, the lack of proximity is going to be a huge factor in the first half of this battle.
Yeah, I think Lee Scott, you know, just very good at finding speed and pace in that BMW RB underneath the bonnet, and you know, looks very comfortable in that chassis and that you know, that car and engine setup. But even when you throw him into a borrowed car, he instantly transforms his driving and just you know, changes it just to suit whatever chassis he's in, and a real talent behind the wheel. Looking very confident, and so far this car looking like it is back running perfectly.
As both those guys make their way back to the start line, so judges want to see another replay of this one. And you can see they both come off the line, but Lee Scott absolutely flies away from the start line, gets a good initiation in. Fountain just doesn't get on it straight away and opens the door for Lee Scott. Lee Scott takes full advantage. And there we go. Back on the start line we are, though, and it will be now Matt Fountain to lead out Lee Scott. Fountain in that white Toyota Sora. It's been referred to as a boat, but we won't go there, Eddie.
Yeah, save that for another day. So here we go. Lee Scott looks to take or give chase now as he tries to hunt down the door of Matt Fountain in that Sora. And
oh, Lee Scott almost over-rotated. Very nice driving from Scott as he gets on the door.
Yeah,
of
look
Lee.
at this sheer aggression, Ian, as he just turns the screw here. No need to hold back, because this guy has got a wealth of ability, and you know what? Just a quick look at just what that young man is capable of, and I think Matt Fountain will be thinking, oh, my God, he was practically inside, inside, sitting beside me. He was that close.
So we wait the decision from our judges. You can see the smoke pluming out of Lee Scott's car. Who's going to take it through to the top 16? Fountain on the left, Scott on the right. And there you go, David, Kieran and Ryan make it unanimous. Lee Scott gets the win, unfortunately. Matt Fountain out of competition. Judges just purely outdriven by the talent that is Lee Scott.
Yeah, great run there by Lee. Yeah, in the first run, Lee puts in a really good lead run. There was a little bit of separation from the start, and we had a quick look back at the replay, make sure there was nothing happening there, and it just looks like Matt was slightly asleep, I think, on the start line, was slow to get going. But there was big separation, and really the final nail in the coffin there from Matt was after the transition there at clip 5. He actually took the wrong line in, he went wide, and he just lost all his pace, and Lee just pulled away, so he had a massive gap at the end. So Lee had a really big advantage after the first one. And then the second one, you saw it, Lee was just glued to his door all the way, even though he was following not the best line. So a huge advantage for Lee on the second one as well.
So there you have it from the judges. Lee Scott moves on, and that makes it, you know, one step closer to him to a 2018 championship. I'm hearing word that we have an interview down in the pits, and I believe my good friend Nathan Black is with Tessa Whittock. Nathan.
Hi guys, how are you? Just on the starting line. Hopefully we're going to go and have a chat with Tessa, but I don't know if she's going to speak to me. We can try my best. I'm a little bit of a nervous Nelly. She's about to do battle, so we're going to go and see if she'll talk to me. Hi Tessa.
Hello.
How are you? You smell wonderful today.
Thanks.
I don't want to get this too close to you, but is that all right? Okay, sorry. Are you excited? Sorry, I'm a little bit jittery at the minute. I'm usually a little bit more put together, but you're about to do battle. Are you feeling excited?
I am excited. It'll be my first battle here and my first time on this track, so I'm glad I've qualified, but I'm going up against my friend, so...
Your friend, there's no friends in drifting, though. He's your bitter enemy for the next battle, as far as I'm concerned. It looks like he's giving you the death stare. You don't want none. This is Tessa Whittock. You ain't got a chance, so you might as well just give up now. Don't worry, I'll tell him for you. No, all's fair in love and drifting and all that. Well, I wish you all the best, and see you later, okay? Have a wonderful time. See you later, Tessa. See you later. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Nathan.
So Nathan, a little bit weak at the knees there at the thoughts of talking to Tessa Whittock. Can't say blame him.
No. So we are ready to go to our next battle. We will be Stephen Fitzgerald to take on Carl Farrar. Fitzgerald qualifying in 13th place and Farrar in 20th. So Farrar, the local guy, a wealth of knowledge of this circuit. Can he use it to his advantage right now as he sits on the line, staring down at that Fitzgerald Vehicle Works S15?
Yeah, think about it is though, Ian, is that, you know, he might have all that local knowledge, but he's the lower qualifier as Steve Fitzgerald qualifying up the order, 13th position, looking confident out there on his second run of qualifying, and a big straighten from Carl Farrar as he tries to find pace and proximity against Stephen Fitzgerald.
Yeah, and
travelled here this weekend from County Cork and is absolutely nailing that qualifying line right now.
Fitzgerald doing an absolutely sterling job out there in that lead position. I'm going to go out there and say that that was a much better run that Fitzgerald put in then than he did in qualifying.
Yeah,
it was a very good run.
Certainly looking a lot more comfortable out on circuit than he did earlier this morning, but you know, scraping it, pulling it out of the bag on his second run, qualifying 13th. You can just see straight from the off, Farrar tries to make this big dive, but just gets a little bit caught, and then here we go. When they switch it back, big straighten, dials off the angle, and from there, Stephen Fitzgerald just starts to pull the gap.
Another big error there from Farrar as he goes into Luna Bend. You can see him just make a huge steering correction, has to clutch kick and get back into it, and then, yeah, look, the game's almost lost there for Farrar as he opens the door and Fitzgerald takes full advantage and drives away.
As they come back up to the start line, remember, tickets already on sale and selling out fast for the final round in October. We'll be back on your screens for the final round, and grandstand tickets, limited tickets still available. Get them while you can. So run 2 in the books. Carl Farrar to lead in Steve Fitzgerald. Malx gives the orders. Can Steve Fitzgerald keep his tight grip of this battle and his spot in the top 16 alive? Well, Farrar going nice and wide, dropping a wheel, and Steve Fitzgerald just getting a little bit caught as Farrar transitions in front of him, had to straighten out himself, but a very tricky lead run to try and follow here, Ian.
Yeah, look, a very, very tricky lead to follow there. As you can see, Farrar was very, very slow coming around that first corner. It's a shallow transition. We're going to go to a quick replay for that one, I do believe, because it almost looked like Fitzgerald made contact. Look at this. Farrar initiates. Fitzgerald starts to make the dive on the door, but look at this. Look at dropping wheels is Farrar, and then very shallow transition. Very early on the transition as well, catches Fitzgerald out. Fitzgerald stays in it though after that mistake, gets back and it dives onto the door. And then again, you can see Fitzgerald just struggling to follow.
Yeah, has a big error there. And I think it all comes back to you know, the first couple of clipping zones where just the line was very difficult for Fitzgerald to try and follow. I think that could be the difference maker. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, we've both been wrong in the past, and I'm sure we're going to be wrong again. But judge's decision is in. That will be appearing on your screen in a moment's time. Who's going to take it through to the top 16? Will it be? Judge is looking for another replay. Not quite sure. Clear cut on this one. Trying to work out what Farrar does here on the initiation where he drops wheels. Could just overhear him saying, does he shut down power? Look, no, hardly any tyre smoke on that transition. So should be a full throttle transition there, Eddie. Not looking for drivers to be lifting, braking of any kind. And again there, Fitzgerald making that mistake. So judges look like they do have a decision, as both guys wait patiently to receive the result.
So we go to our judges for that decision. Who's going to be? Is it going to be Stephen Fitzgerald? Is it going to be Carl Farrar, Kieran, David and Ryan? Kieran says, Ryan says Stephen Fitzgerald. David says Stephen Fitzgerald. Kieran says Stephen Fitzgerald. Stephen Fitzgerald going through. We go back to the judges. A little bit of deliberation over that one. Talk us through what happened.
Yeah, tough one there, actually. So essentially, if we just look at the first run and the second run, Fitzgerald has a good lead. Farrar has a big straighten. And then in the second half of the battle, Stephen Fitzgerald has an unforced straighten. So that kind of balances it out, which brings the whole battle down to what happened on the first corner of the second run. Now, immediately looking at it, looks like Fitzgerald just makes a bit too much of an aggressive dive. But looking at it again, for our perspective, it looked very much to me that Farrar had dropped the wheel off the circuit, had to back off power to get a little bit of grip, and he was very slow. Now, that's a full throttle zone on the track, or at least a maintain your speed on the track. And Fitzgerald was left in a decision where he had two options. He either straightens up or he just keeps drifting and then it backs out. So he chose the latter and backed out. But I think it was Farrar dropping off the track that caused that to happen. He didn't have a fluid, chaseable lead run through that first corner, and that's exactly why we called it that way.
There we go. A chaseable lead run being the key point in that battle. We keep it going as we move on to our next battle, and it will be Josh King to take on Tessa Whittock.
Yeah, Tessa coming up against fifth place qualifier. However, you know, qualifying, she started to look more and more confident with every lap put down. Josh King in that lead position. He'll be feeling confident going into this one, but won't be getting ahead of himself because certainly Tessa Whittock with a bundle of ability, and straight up from the off, Tessa Whittock dives onto the door, but gets over aggressive, possibly. Be interested to see when the judges want to have a look back at that one. Was there any slowing from Josh King? I'm not so sure, as Tessa now tries to get herself back into this one, but struggling with the pace of Josh King in that E36. And again, we'll need to see a replay. Just it is quite tricky on that first corner. Very tentative, but certainly Tessa trying to be very aggressive straight from the off, and maybe just attacking that little bit too soon.
Yeah, just looked like Josh King
quite slow.
Again, quite slow. Looked like he didn't get into it as quick as what Tessa imagined that he would do. So we'll have to wait to see what the judges decipher of that as we wait to get those guys back to the start line and swap them around. It will be obviously Tess now to lead and Josh King to give chase. Tess not doing a whole lot wrong in the rest of her chase, you know, and to be fair, Josh's lead was very, very good.
And I think if the judges deem King at fault for what happened at the first corner, Tessa could be, you know, looking at an advantage here going into the second half. We don't know. We wait and see as both drivers just compose themselves ahead of the second half of this map. And Malx giving the orders on the start line. We are go. Tessa to lead them in this time around in that Driftworks R33 Skyline. And Josh King tucks in right behind now. Can he bring the fight and apply the pressure to the Driftworks driver? Right now, Tessa pulling a little bit of advantage of her own here as she puts foot to floor and gets on the throttle. Josh King doesn't really have much of an answer, keeping a steady level of distance away from her as they go through the circuit, but doesn't bring it to the door at any point on the track. And I think this one goes back to the first half of the battle.
So, lack of proximity there from Josh King. Not sure whether it was just Tess's pace or whether he was told on the radio, listen, you know, you might have a slight advantage here. We're going to have to just give us some room. Not sure what way the judges are going to look at that one, but they do look like they have made a decision. So we await for that to drop onto our screens to find out who's going to take it through to the top 16. Is it going to be Tessa Whittock or will it be Josh King? Left for Whittock, right for King. Kieran says King. David says King, and Ryan makes it unanimous. Josh King gets the win, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, Tessa Whittock out of competition. No need to go to our judges. Listen, I'm guessing that a small error from Tess on the first run was enough to call it what it is. Eddie, we're getting through them thick and fast here.
Yeah, the last battle of this side of the top 32 bracket will see Garrett Rogers taking on Alexis Drew. And Garrett Rogers qualified in 12th position. He will be the higher qualifier. Similar enough cars. 550 brake horsepower takes on 500 brake horsepower. R33 Skyline takes on R34. A spot in the top 16 awaits in a potential battle with Josh King for the winner. Who is going to take it through? Looks like we are almost ready to send them.
Yeah, almost ready to rock and roll with the final battle in this half of our top 32, where we will see Gareth Rogers, like you say, Eddie, lead out Alexis Drew. Now, Drift Cup driver in the lead position.
And sorry, Ian, but Gareth Rogers getting the jump here on Alexis Drew.
Oh, he's dropping wheels.
But he's dropping wheels, and that's slowing him down, giving Alexis Drew an opportunity to get back into this one. Now, can he make a dive down the inside? Not able to get too close to Garrett Rogers, and you know, a couple of errors from Rogers, but oh, and a big straight, and a number of drivers, Ian. I'm not sure what it is with that particular section of the circuit, but I think if you're a little bit off the qualifying line, drivers getting caught up in those cars just straightening out, and unfortunately, you know, errors on both sides. But I think Garrett Rogers taking the advantage with a good, strong lead run, just dropping a couple of wheels on entry, but after that, seemed to be pretty much a solid qualifying line.
Yeah, Alexis Drew making a couple of mistakes there, as you can see. Rogers in that lead position, and it's right here you see Drew, and maybe it's a mischief, but I know he's got a sequential gearbox in that car, so shouldn't really be an excuse for that. And again there, another mistake. He's on the wrong part of the circuit, though. It looks like he was going to drop wheels. So Drew really now, for me, sitting, you know, with a bit of a deficit on his shoulders.
Yeah, the question is, if you're, you know, if you're Garrett Rogers' spotter, what are you telling him right now?
You're telling him, you know, give him some room, but not too much, that he could run away with any form of an opportunity to take what you've already earned. They come off the line, though. It will be Alexis Drew to take on Gareth Rogers. Gareth Rogers now in that chase position. Rogers dives straight on the door.
Yeah, making that dive nice and early, Ian.
Yeah, making a very nice dive, sorry. Alexis Drew stands on it, tries to drive away from Rogers, trying to claw back some points by leaving Rogers standing, but Rogers stays in the fight. A very shallow angle through Luna.
Yeah, and not much angle from Rogers, and then starts to lose some ground, and ooh, this one not clear cut. Maybe some, you know, some bigger mistakes on the part of Alexis Drew in the first half of the battle. I'm not so sure, though. This one could be a potential one more time, but who knows? That's the great thing is, Ian, we don't have to make that decision. We have 3 esteemed judges who will do that for us, and it's their job to take all the hate and the abuse at the end of the event, as it looks as though they start to drop their scores into the system. Will it be Rogers? Will it be Drew? Here we go, about to find out. David, Kieran, and Ryan. Slide him left for Alexis Drew, right for Rogers. 1 vote for Rogers, 2 votes for Rogers, and Kieran Hines makes it unanimous. Garrett Rogers moving through to the top 16. Quickly back to the judges for an explanation.
Yeah, scrappy one again there. On the first run, Rogers is good, really good actually. And Drew just kind of gets left on the line, gets caught napping a little bit, has to kind of fight back into it. He does, but when he gets back in, he has a huge error in his straight as he comes through the last section of the course. Spin around, Drew does give it a good fight. He actually has a great run. Rogers not fantastic in the chase. It cuts a little bit, sometimes on the wrong line, but he didn't do anything majorly wrong to turn it back around in Drew's favour. So Rogers takes it over the 2 runs.
There we go. Rogers moving through, and the Drift Cup driver proving his worth. We keep it going. We're going to move on to the next battle of the day. It will be Ricky Lawrence to take on William Hanna. William Hanna in that chase position.
Yeah, Willie Hanna now coming up against second place qualifier in Ricky Lawrence, and Ricky Lawrence fresh off that podium at round 3 where he took the win at Driftland. So certainly coming up against a guy who's really on form and enjoying his driving right now. So again, big gap opening up as the lead driver just guns it from the start line, and Willie Hanna with no real answer as of yet. He's going to have to try and do something here. He needs to make a dive and give the Joneses something to think about, because right now it's all Ricky Lawrence in the lead position in that Drift Games PS13, or 1VIA rather. Driftland, did I say Drift Games?
You said Drift Games.
Apologies.
So yeah, that was pretty much the Ricky Lawrence show right there. As you can see, Ricky Lawrence making a very dominant lead. We're going to go to a replay for our judges on that one. William Hanna not doing a whole lot wrong, as you can see here from initiation, as Ricky Lawrence fires it in, gets on it nice and early. And that Driftland PS13, or 1VIA should I say, fires through the circuit, and Willie Hanna just not being able to match the pace. And look at that, it's pretty much the Ricky Lawrence show, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know what, I don't think that it was a case that he didn't have the pace. I think he might have been just caught napping offline. I mean, if you look at the gap when they left the line to when they finished the actual run, there wasn't a whole lot of difference. He didn't gain any more, Ricky Lawrence, but he just got that jump off the start line. And sometimes guys get caught napping, maybe just get too much wheel spin on the start line, and it can cost them the run.
Well, it does look like Ricky Lawrence is ready to make the second half of this battle, but we don't have a William Hanna. So William Hanna is not at the line just yet. So we are trying to find out if William Hanna is fine, if his car's fine. It does look like he's making his way now.
Yeah, it looked as though he may have just been talking to one of the marshals, so possibly just asking the marshal just to check over something on his vehicle. And of course, that's what our marshals are here, just to make sure that those cars are safe before they head back out onto track. So the second half of this battle, it will be William Hanna to lead in Ricky Lawrence in the Driftland 1VIA. And as we say, he's carrying that advantage. Look how quick he is off the line once again, in straight onto the back bumper of Willie Hanna, and tucks in. And look at this, bringing the fight. And this is what the Driftland drivers are all about. It's all about door-to-door action, bringing that aggression. And Ricky Lawrence, almost rotates, but keeping that proximity and bringing the fight to the door of Willie Hanna. But he's, you know what, been over-aggressive, I think, a little bit. A couple of errors starting to creep into the run. And as they cross the line, over-aggression, I think, from Ricky Lawrence, but I think over the course of the 2 runs, doing enough.
Very, very good chase driving there from Ricky Lawrence from the get-go. I'd like to see the replay of that, how he didn't make contact coming around that first turn. I don't know, he was so aggressive on the dive. But the problem is, for me, Eddie, I think you'll find that William Hanna's lead as they come through Lunar Bend was very, very scrappy. And I think Ricky Lawrence got a little bit caught up in that, and he chased him down and got wheels over the curb, and that was the problem. So just waiting for a replay of this one.
Yeah, and I think we could have problems, I think, with William Hanna's car, because it looks as though there's
so look at this. Look.
A fluid leak on the circuit.
Unbelievable dive there from Ricky Lawrence. Look at this, a very, very good car control. Almost makes contact, tag in the door. And then it's here where Willie Hanna starts to make a whole host of errors. Almost over-rotates here. You can see Lawrence matching his angle. Come around Lunar Bend together. Very, very nice. Lawrence then starts to make a dive again. But look at Hanna. Hanna way over the edge of the circuit. And Ricky Lawrence, being that chase car, Eddie, naturally follows the lead line. So it looks pretty clear-cut from where I'm sitting. But do the judges see it the same way?
Yeah, and just off the screen, our marshal is just confirming that it was a coolant leak on the from the vehicle, the R33 Skyline of William Hanna. And judges' scores coming in. Will you be correct? Will it be all in favour of Ricky Lawrence? Slide him left for Hannah, right for Lawrence, Kieran, David and Ryan. It's unanimous. All judges going in favour of Ricky Lawrence. So Ricky Lawrence takes the win. He moves on to the top 16 and continues his good run of form. No real need to go back to the judges. Pretty clear cut over the course of those 2 runs.
Yeah, no need to go to the judges on that one. But we do need to go to our good friend Nathan Black, who is with Josh King. Nathan.
Yeah, thanks very much. Going to go and have a little chat with Josh King, actually. I'm not very happy with his behaviour, but we're going to go and see how he is. Josh, young man, if you wouldn't mind coming over and explaining yourself. So the Southern Belle, the queen of the drift circuit, just went up against you there. And in front of the world, you just beat a woman. What do you have to say about that?
I like to beat me women.
Yeah, well, it seems you do. You didn't give her a chance. You know, she's, like I said, she's a Southern Belle. She hasn't got a chance of winning the championships now because you beat her, and now you're going on, and she has to go back to the paddock, and she won't be able to race again for the rest of the day. No, I don't want to cuddle anything from you. I just want an explanation as to what's going to happen now, and I don't want to speak to you again for the rest of the day. What have you got to say?
Well, I think I need to up my chase game.
No, I've had enough of this. Come on, get away. Best of luck, but I'm not having it.
You know what? Proper order that. Proper order.
A very emotional Nathan Black there. The Southern Belle, she's now been named.
Yeah.
The Southern Belle, Tessa Whittaker. Bows out competition, and Nathan Black clearly emotional about that situation. We keep it going though. Lewis Mitchell now to take on Jack Shield, and you know what? This is going to be a very, very good battle.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, 15th place qualifier to take on 18th place qualifier Jack Shield, looking very, very good. And you know what? Lewis Mitchell in that top 8 of the championship, so he's feeling strong.
Yeah, look, you have 2 completely different machines on the start line here, and 2 completely different driving styles. Jack Shield had 2 completely different qualifying runs. One a little bit poor, and the other one really upgraded to manage to get him into that 18th qualifying position. Can he throw it to the door of Lewis Mitchell? We know he'll certainly go for it straight from the off, and tucks right onto the rear quarter, wheel to wheel, as they come around through those first 2 and 3 clipping zones. And Jack Shield right there with Mitchell, but making a couple of errors, Ian.
Jack Shield making a whole host of errors, and look at this, trying to make a dive again on Lewis Mitchell's door. Lewis Mitchell, for me, doing the right thing, keeping his cool, just drops his wheel over that out of zone 5, but Mitchell puts in the lead run of his life, and he lets Jack Shield make all the mistakes in that chase position.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, Jack Shield comes, brings the fight, brings the aggression, but when you do that, you got to be careful not to make mistakes, and straight from the off, you see it dives right in. But then the errors start to creep into the run. He just gets a little bit over aggressive, make a nice transition back, but this is where he gets it all wrong. Goes a little bit wide, car straightens up onto the curb, and a couple more errors in the chase position for him from, yeah, you can see straightening, and another little waver here.
You can see him, excess use of the handbrake. Popping wheels up on the curb, very, very scrappy chase run there from Jack Shield.
Surprisingly though, Ian, looks like the faster driver.
Yeah, it's a BMW. He's going to have to drive it absolutely flat out to try and get the most out of it. But for me, I think Lewis Mitchell may have clawed quite a few points from that half of the battle, because the lead run was very good.
What I'm interested to see now in the second half of this battle with Jack Shield in the lead position is, can he pull a sizable gap over Lewis Mitchell? It looked as though, and you know, we talk about these naturally aspirated BMWs as being, you know, they need to maintain momentum just to keep the car on power. And can he pull a gap here against Lewis Mitchell? It looked as though he had a little bit of pace on him. He certainly wasn't losing ground in the first half of the battle. Mitchell leaves a little bit of gap as they enter the circuit. Now tries to make the dive onto the door. But yeah, gap starts to open up as Jack Shield puts the foot down again, just dropping that wheel, and a few little errors. But Lewis Mitchell all over the place in the chase positioning.
Lewis Mitchell looking desperate to try and get on the door, but it looks like he's going to make himself look bad in this half of the battle. Yeah, I mean, listen, for me, Lewis Mitchell, he started off the run very, very cool, calm and collected. We're going to go to a replay of this one.
And I'm wondering, does that explain some of what happened on the first run? Because certainly it looks as though Jack Shield has more speed and grip dialed into that car than Lewis Mitchell.
So look at this, you can see, I mean, Lewis Mitchell didn't do a whole lot wrong up until this point, and then this is where he started to throw it away, dropping wheels over the edge of the curb. 2 wheels off circuit, could that be enough to give the judges a decision? Does look like they have one. Eddie, who's it going to be? Slide it left for Shield, right for Mitchell. And Ryan says Jack Shield. David says Jack Shield, and Kieran makes it unanimous. Jack Shield gets the win and goes through to the top 16. Judges, Jack Shield just holding on in there.
Yeah, well, firstly, I mean, fantastic aggression from Shield in the chase position. He does well not to get caught badly at certain areas. It's a difficult track to go that close. Mitchell actually has a poor lead run. He's off the line. He stalls up a little bit here and there. So Jack did well to chase him. And in the second run, it's like you guys were saying, this faster car thing, right? Jack Shield does not have the faster car. What he has is the better line, and the better line here makes you faster. You watch what Mitchell does. He loses a bit of traction, and he thinks if I cut through that S's section over on the lunar curve, if I cut that, I'm going to get back on his door. You do briefly, but you lose all of your momentum, and you're going to lose it for the rest of the course. So therefore, anytime you cut this circuit, you're actually going to lose car length on the other car, and that's what Mitchell did. It's actually better to go back on the line, at least stay in the fight, because anytime you try and sort of jump through the corners here, you stall up somewhere else very badly. So that's why Lewis, unfortunately, didn't have any answer for Shield towards the end of the run, and Jack took the win.
There you have it, don't go offline.
There you go.
Don't go offline.
And what do I know about drift battles?
Absolutely nothing.
Brilliant.
So here we go. Andy Earl taking on Ryan Cooper. Can Andrew Earl keep his impressive run of form going here? A number of drivers carrying a lot of form coming into this round. He qualified well up the order in 7th position. Cooper, though, down the order in 26th spot. We're about to see who's going to take it into the top 16. Andy Earl gets a sizable jump off the line in.
Cooper left sitting on the line with nothing but to watch Andrew Earl drive away, and this could be a big advantage. Oh, as Cooper fires it in, almost over-rotates, keeps it on the black stuff, but makes a huge error as Andrew Earl looks dominant out front, sits on a perfect line and takes it.
Right now for me, Andrew Earl is doing one thing, and he's not overthinking it. He's just making it simple. He's saying, you know what, I'm just going to do what the judges asked me. I'm just going to do that line, and look how quick he is. I mean, he's got a full car length almost ahead of Cooper when they leave the line there. Cooper just caught napping, and from there he just can't get back into it, washing wide through the first corner. And you see here, this is where it really starts to go wrong, from over-rotating, getting 2 wheels off the dirt into the dirt, and big straight in here. And for me, that's very close to a 10-0. It's got to be a 9-1 advantage in favour of Andy Earl.
Eddie's getting a little bit of a look. I'm not going to say anything because I could be wrong, because I'll probably be wrong again. We get those guys back to the start line, and it will be Ryan Cooper's opportunity now to lead out Andrew Earl. And Andrew Earl, in my opportunity, are looking very strong in that lead position. Now, can he chase down Ryan Cooper? Is Ryan Cooper going to give Andrew Earl a chaseable lead run? Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah, we swapped them around for the second half of this one. Andy Earl, from where I'm sitting, with a sizable advantage going into the second half of this one. If he could be smart, play his cards right. No need to get overly aggressive on this one. Oh. But quite look at this. Look at it, big straight from Andy Earl.
Andrew Earl making a whole host of errors, making a huge error on
just
initiation.
Couldn't seem to get that car on angle, Ian.
As now Ryan Cooper looks dominant out front. Andrew Earl starts to claw something back in this half of the battle, but Andrew Earl making a massive error, so he comes through the smoke screen created.
I think what's going to come back to is, what was the scoring on the first one? If you have a 10-0 on the first one, is the second one maybe an 8-2? Is it a 9-1? If it was a 9-1, could we have a second 9-1? Could this go one more time? But you just see Andrew Earl, I mean, practically had nothing there at the first clipping zone.
Through the first clipping point, and almost halfway towards the second, the first front clip, Andrew Earl wasn't drifting at all.
But then
could that be overturned?
For the rest of the run in, he does have that proximity. He doesn't have as many errors as Cooper had. Cooper had he was a long way off the correct line. He was 2 wheels off at one point. I'd say this one will be close.
Not sure what way the judges are going to call this one. We're going to see a replay again. Judges wanted to see what happened here. Ryan Cooper fires the car in. Handbrake's the wrong way, though, if you watch the initiation from Cooper. Did that catch Andrew Earl out? Was that enough? Andrew Earl does get back into it, like you say, Eddie, and then he has good proximity. Doesn't shortcut the circuit. Does just drop ever so slightly out of that outer zone. But look at this initiation from Cooper.
Yeah, and judges obviously having a real deliberation over this one.
Handbraking, yeah, the wrong way through the start line, and if we go back to what the judges were saying in the briefing in earlier on, they wanted to see guys initiating on the right side of the track. So could that be the nail in the coffin for Ryan Cooper?
Yeah, you can see it there very clearly. Just the smoke starting to.
That looks like it caught Andrew Earl out in my books.
Yeah.
It looks like he was like, well, what are you doing?
Because it doesn't appear to be any issue with the car. I mean, he's well able to get the car on angle after that. So, yeah, I think well spotted, Ian. However, the judges may see it differently.
I have been wrong just once this week.
Judges still talking about it, and ooh, I can overhear some of what they're saying, and I don't know what way they've scored the first battle, but I'm fairly sure I know what way the second battle is scored. But I do know one thing: it's extremely close.
If anything, it'll be very, very close. Yeah, like you say, we wait for the score to drop in from our judges. It does look like they do have a decision. Who's going to take it through to the top 16? Will it be Earl? Will it be Cooper? Or will it be a one more time?
Remember, of course, this is only the warm-up for the pro main event tomorrow. If you're sitting at home watching online and you're in the vicinity, make sure and get yourself down here for what promises to be a really action-packed day. We watched the pros practice earlier on, and there was some really aggressive driving going in. Tickets on sale at the gate. Get yours tomorrow down here at the Three Sisters race circuit here in Wigan. We, of course, will be available to watch online now. The scores coming in. Who's going to go through? Is it going to be Ryan Cooper? Is it going to be Andrew Earl? Will it be a one more time? Kieran, David, and Ryan. Who's getting your call? Kieran Hines says Andrew Earl. David Egan says one more time. Ryan says one more time. We are going one more time, and we got to go back to the judges. Guys, we had our theory on it. You guys have a different opinion. Talk us through it. A lot of errors over the two runs.
Okay, so the first run, Earl washes a little bit wide as he comes into the lunar turn, but again, Cooper makes a big error. In fact, he's got huge errors. So 2 wheels off at one point of the track, and therefore for me, Cooper is at an 8-2 disadvantage after the first run. So it's just up to Earl now to put in a safe chase, which would seem that he could do that, but the first corner for me, Earl drives the whole corner. Now, he doesn't drive it enough. Okay, so what I kind of decided in my head was it would be a 10-0. However, Cooper has a really, really bad entry. He actually could have affected Earl in terms of his initiation point. But I don't think it was enough or as close enough to call it a 10-0. So I think Earl made a big error there. And even at that, he didn't get back on drift very, very quickly after it. He kind of just drove around the corner a little bit, then let it slide on its own. So and for the rest of the run, Earl picks up another advantage. So just from that first corner, it brought it right back to a big disadvantage to Earl for me there, and brought it back to him one more time. Very scrappy, though.
Yeah, from my point of view, and the reason why I was giving it to Earl, agree with Dave on the first run. Andrew Earl has a big advantage in 8-2 out the first one. When it comes down to the second one, okay, the first thing is you have to allow, in the chase position, you have to be given the chase leader, and you have to be given the opportunity to initiate beside the guy in front of you. But Ryan Cooper, when he initiates, he actually drags on the handbrake through the start line towards the clipping point and completely misses it. He never actually gets out to clip outer zone one at all. Now, you can argue all day whether or not Andrew Earl made the error on his own and should have been able to initiate and everything else. But at the end of the day, you have to give the chase driver an opportunity to be able to initiate where he wants to and make it the best job that he can do. In this case, it's not clear to me. If we ignore the errors that both make on the first corner, Andrew has a good advantage over the whole run. So it comes back, did Andrew make the mistake all on his own, or was it Ryan Cooper's? And I think Ryan had something to do with it. Either way, Ryan's mistake has to be factored into it as well as Andrew Earl's. Andrew takes the advantage for the rest of the run. So for me, it was a 6-4, I think, 7-3 on the second run to Ryan Cooper, bearing in mind Andrew's mistake, but not enough to overturn the 8-2 advantage he had on the first one.
Well, there you have it from the judges, but it doesn't matter what way you look at it. They are back on the line, and these two guys are ready to go to war one more time. Can
Is it 12
Andrew
tomorrow
Earl
live or
reproduce
pros?
what he did in the lead position? He certainly gets the jump on Cooper once again, and Cooper hasn't learned his lesson from the start line, and he's certainly got fewer errors this time around as he looks to try and bring the fight. Dives down the inside now, but Andrew Earl again just doing that steady job in the lead position, keeping to his line. And as he crossed the line, just getting a little bit out of position on the inner curbing there, but certainly pulled the gap, and Ryan Cooper unable to provide a sizable response to the pace of Andy Earl. So you got to say, a slight advantage, a lot more slight this time around, in my opinion, to Andy Earl.
So Andy Earl, yeah, like you say, Eddie, sorry, I was trying to discuss something else at the time. Andy Earl doing possibly enough there to try and claw enough points back in that first half of the battle.
But the big thing is now he's got a harder job in the chase position, knowing that he doesn't have as big an advantage as he had in the first run, but he also has to try and eradicate that mistake through the first corner. So as we judges just check out the replay one more time of these guys, and of course they can't go one more time. They can't go one more time after this. This has to be decided after this run of the circuit. We've switched them around. It will be Ryan Cooper to lead in Andrew Earl. Now, can Andrew Earl get a good chase run in here? Can he get through that first corner without any errors this time around? Certainly we know he has the pace, and they're side by side off the line. No issues this time around for Andrew Earl.
No, much better initiation this time from Ryan Cooper as well. Makes a huge error there though, and again, two little straight-ins from Earl. He needs to keep his head in the game here, Eddie, and think about what he's doing.
Yeah, needs to bring some proximity as well through the latter stages of the run here. Just might be doing enough as he stays in the shadow of Ryan Cooper as they cross the line, and maybe just giving the judges something to talk about. And I think, if they were looking at this one as being a potential one more time, I think they'd look in favour of Andrew Earl and give the call based on what happened on the second half of the first battle. So that settles it. Who's it going to be? Ryan Cooper or Andrew Earl? Kieran, David and Ryan. Side them left for Cooper, right for Earl. Kieran, David and Ryan. It's unanimous, all in favour of Andrew Earl. We go back to you guys. No problems deciding the winner on the second half of the battle.
Yeah, no, that the one more time did exactly what they're for. It gave us a clear winner from two good, clean runs. There were mistakes made from both drivers in both runs. However, I mean, on Andrew's lead run, it was okay lead. There was a little straighten at the end that dropped him a point down. Ryan lost his proximity throughout the run. Again, Ryan Cooper, when he led, he did a similar kind of initiation. Didn't really make it easy for Andrew, but Andrew kept with him, didn't make any mistakes at that point, and then stuck with Ryan pretty well all the way through. It was a poor lead run to chase, but Andrew stayed in that fight all the way to the end, which gave him an advantage on both runs.
There we go. A decision after all, and we move it on to the next battle of the day, which will be Mike Lardner to take on Rob Johnson. Both cars pushing 500 horsepower, S14 versus 350Z. And Mike Lardner, the higher qualifier, to lead out Rob Johnson.
Yeah, Lardner doing a really good job in his second run in qualifying, getting himself top 10, and now goes up against the lower qualifier in Rob Johnson. But Rob Johnson has other ideas about who's going through to the top 16 as he starts to bring the fight, but gets a little bit caught in, loses some ground, now has to try and pull the socks up and get back into this one.
Yeah, a big error there from Mike Lardner though on initiation. Like he slowed down massively, didn't get on it nice and early. Oh, and Johnson goes way off track. And Rob Johnson.
Yeah, tyre off the wheel, potentially. Or, yeah, very hard to see exactly what happened there as he was caught in the smoke behind. But it looks as though tyre off the rim, potentially. Or is that just a loose tyre from hitting the tyre bells? Yeah, loose tyre from hitting the tyre bells. Our marshal's straight over there. Guys, give him a round of applause. He gives the thumbs up to let us know that he's okay. Get a quick look at this for you guys at home watching on the live stream. Here's the replay.
Yeah, our camera just missed the edge of that shot. We focused on the lead car ever so slightly. You can see Rob Johnson doing everything he can to try and chase down Mike Lardner, but it's right here. I think Johnson just gets caught in the smoke. Look at this, goes too wide, drops off circuit, and yeah, Mike Lardner finished off the run, and Rob Johnson's car not looking in the greatest
no, and that's what you look. These are the things that can happen if you leave too much of a gap. You get caught in that cloud of smoke, and obviously a lot easier to chase in terms of visibility if you're door on door with the lead driver. So it looks as though he's happy enough with that car, and just hopefully just cosmetic, a couple of bumpers missing, but nothing more serious than that, and he will head back to the start line. But Ian, you got to say 10-0 advantage, and he's got some work to do now.
Yeah, Rob Johnson's got a lot of work to do on his shoulders, you know, and he's driving a car that could potentially not be 100%. We're going to get our marshals over there just to take a quick look around that car before he does make his way out back onto circuit, to make sure that it is safe for him to go while our track staff rebuild the tyre wall.
Yeah, some of the hardest working people in drifting are our track crew, our marshals, and obviously our scrutineers as well, just ensuring that every car is safe to go back out on track. And these guys, just ordinary 9-to-5 working guys who come here to try and keep a smooth running show for everybody else's benefit. You know, they get nothing or very little out of it. They miss all the action on track, and they got to watch it the whole event on replay when they get home. So very little reward for some of our marshals, but they love the sport and they love giving back to it. Now Rob Johnson lines up in the lead position. Lardner now, will he be sensible? He knows he has that 10-0 advantage. He just needs to hang back, avoid making a non-contested chase run, and he will be going through to the top 16. 5 spots remain in that top 16, and we are quickly getting through them, deciding who our top 16 drivers are going to be. And from that point on, it's going to come in thick and fast in as they leave the line under the marshal's order. And Lardner, even a little bit of a gap here, doesn't need to go over the aggressive. Johnson, the one with the work to do, needs to find the fault. And very difficult to do that from the lead position as he starts to drop a couple of wheels and
Yeah,
does a little bit of ploughing.
Perfect undertake there from Mike Lardner as Rob Johnson's car not 110%. You can see him managing to just about put a run in, but very, very scrappy from Johnson in that lead/chase position.
Ryan Pottercurry said to me this morning that the overtake was impossible on this circuit. Well,
there you go.
I don't think Mike Lardner would agree with you.
No, he definitely wouldn't. Looks like the decision is in though, and it should be a simple one. Slide them left for Johnson, right for Lardner, and Kieran, David and Ryan make unanimous. And Mike Lardner gets the win and goes through. No need to go to the judges on that one. 4 wheels off such a circuit, hitting the wall and then getting overtaken means you're not going to go through, and unfortunately Rob Johnson's weekend ends there. We keep it going. Next battle of the day will be a Ryan Caldwell to take on a James Ireland, a 300 horsepower E36 to take on a 750 horsepower S15. Seems kind of unfair, Eddie, but that's the cruel mistress that drifting is.
Yeah, it seems unfair until, you know, you hear all the groupies in the background cheering on James Ireland, and you kind of go, you know what, that guy's got enough going for him. And there they are once again.
On cue.
On cue.
Like a soundboard.
Yep, so here we go. Ryan Caldwell to lead in James Ireland. He has his work cut out from here, going up against one of the best in the business and a guy that would give any pro driver a run for his money. And yeah, you can just see those mistakes starting to creep into the run for James Ireland as he struggles desperately to try and keep within touching distance of Ryan Caldwell, who stands on the accelerator now and just smokes out the arena here at the Three Sisters circuit. And James Ireland getting a little bit lost in the dust there, Ian.
Yeah, James Ireland didn't lose too much proximity or too much ground over the run as we go back to the replay. And you can see James Ireland, he made a daring dive on initiation and had to slow up ever so slightly. Caldwell got in a big straighten there from Ireland coming into that outer zone 3. Ireland though stays in it now, and Caldwell, for me, on a very, very nice lead line, which gives Ireland the opportunity to chase another straight in there from Ireland, and then kind of gets lost in the background, can't see him in the smoke, and
yeah, look, he's at a really sizable disadvantage now going into the second half of this one, and you know, when you're up against one of the best in the business, and you know Caldwell's not going to be you know, unnecessarily aggressive. He'll have the team in the radio, that he'll know exactly what he needs to do going into the second half of this one, and you can see.
Well, I've just received some hand signals from one of our judges, not the kind that I'm used to receiving. It was a pleasant one, and yeah, it's a sizable advantage for one of the drivers. Not going to tell you who it is right now. Let's get this one decided by the second half of the battle. Can James Ireland take down Ryan Caldwell? As Caldwell gives Ireland a little bit of room to manoeuvre, Ireland fires it into that first turn, and Caldwell is right with him though, and Caldwell almost making contact on the transition. Yeah,
look, Caldwell's smart enough to know that you're not going to win this in the first corner, but you may very well lose it, and he knows over the course of the run he'll make up that gap, and just tones it back, but now brings the fight, goes door to door, bumper to bumper as they go across the line. And that is exactly why Ryan Caldwell is contending for a championship, and valuable points up for grab. And of course, Alistair Sutton dropping out of competition at top 32, meaning that third and fourth position, Hayden Cruikshank and Ryan Caldwell sitting in a very good position here if they can get into the top 16. So scores coming in.
Slider left for Ireland, right for Caldwell, and Ryan Caldwell gets the win.
Yes.
So just
apologies for any errors that you might have seen on your screen. Just an error in our media truck, just passing the results through the wrong way. We will go over to our judges just to confirm from you guys that it is Ryan Caldwell getting the win and not the other way around.
Yeah, it's Northern Ireland, not Ireland, that goes through. So essentially, it was all down to the first run. What you might not have noticed, and we looked at it on the replay, was a very different view than we had. Ireland actually drives the entire last section of the course. So it's a 0 from about clip 6 all the way to the finish, even before it, just drives all the way home. So essentially that's a 0, does not finish the course. Second run is kind of thrown out at that point. It's scrappy, and again, Caldwell probably takes the advantage. But yeah, over the 2 runs, a comfortable win there for Ryan Caldwell.
There we go, Ryan Caldwell advancing through, and yeah, our computer system saying I've had enough this year, I've done some work.
Computer says no.
Yeah, we move it along. Martin Cowley now to take on Hayden Cruikshank, and this one is very, very big for the championship. Hayden Cruikshank currently sitting third in the championship. If he gets knocked out by Martin Cowley, Ryan Caldwell will potentially take a step closer to Lee Scott, especially now as we have seen Alistair Sutton drop out.
Yeah, I know. But the interesting thing here is that if Hayden Cruikshank wins this battle, he goes up against Ryan Caldwell, meaning one of them is bound to drop out at top 16. So this becoming very, very interesting. And, you know, for Lee Scott, all his closest rivals could be knocking themselves out of competition now. Martin Cowley with a sizable advantage here over Hayden Cruikshank, who appears to have been caught napping in.
Right, yeah. Martin Cowley absolutely fired that car through that first turn, got on throttle nice and early, and starts to smoke out Three Sisters Circuit as Cruikshank not doing a whole lot wrong.
No, and I'm just taking my eyes off the monitor to watch this, you know, in real time on the track, and the forward bite that Martin Cowley has in that S14 is incredible.
Looking back at a replay, you can see Hayden Cruikshank didn't really have the proximity on initiation. You can see Cowley fires that car into the first turn. Very, very nice initiation. Gets on the throttle nice and early. Good, fast transition through the centre of the circuit there. Gets back into it. Looks for that outer zone 3. Nice transition. Sets himself up in Luna Bend very, very well. Cruikshank didn't do a whole lot wrong in that chase position. Stayed on the qualifying line.
No, look, I think a lot of this comes back to, you know, being aware, being ready on the start line. A lot of guys losing ground on the start line and then never regaining it over the course of the run. Maybe the occasion getting to Cruikshank, knowing that he's in a good position in the championship, knowing that a good performance here could see him in contention to take that championship at the final round in Rockingham in a few weeks' time. Who knows? Only he can answer those questions. It's his opportunity now in the lead position. But look at this, straight off the line, side by side. No problems for Martin Cowley, and this is how you keep yourself in the battle. He goes straight onto that rear bumper of Hayden Cruikshank and bringing the fight. And for me, it looks as though Cruikshank could be staring down the barrel of a gun here. as Martin Cowley shows no fear, transitioning side by side, door to door, applying the pressure, makes a big dive down the inside. So aggressive from Martin Cowley. Wow.
Unbelievable from Martin Cowley. Phenomenal stuff as he almost takes the front bumper off on the back end of Hayden Cruikshank's car. Very, very good aggressive drive in there. And we await the score to drop in from our judges. Does look like this one is a clear-cut decision. So did the judges see what we see, or did they see more? Slide them left for Cruikshank, right for Cowley. And Kieran says Cowley. David says Cowley, and Ryan makes it unanimous. Martin Cowley gets the win. Hayden Cruikshank is out of competition. We go to you, judges.
Martin had a good lead run on the first one. Hayden, he cuts the first corner completely, misses clip 1 and clip 2 to try and keep proximity, which doesn't really work for him. He also cuts clip 6, makes a dive there, and it falls away. So it was a huge separation by the end. So Martin takes like an 8-2 advantage in the first run. Second one, Hayden has a reasonably good lead run, just off a couple of clips there, but Martin has good proximity for the whole run and does really well, chasing not the best lead line. Big advantage on the second one as well for Martin.
Martin Cowley getting the win and advancing through, and just 2 more battles to go in our top 32. First one up will be Dominic Gates to take on Philip Hayden. So Philip Hayden in that chase position. Dominic Gates to lead them out. Now, Dominic Gates looking very, very good today. Very, very good qualifying session from Gates, qualifying in 6th place. Hayden with a job on his hands right now. Can he take down an on-form Dominic Gates as they come off the line? And a little bit of separation, as you can see. Hayden fire that car in on the foot brake. Once again, Dominic Gates stands on it and starts to pull a little bit of a lead. But Hayden now starting to hunt down the door of that Goldfinger Rings Dominic Gates. Gates on a very nice lead line, just bouncing off the curb as Hayden chases him down in his shadow, and both guys coming across the line as Eddie does his maths lesson.
Yeah, just trying to see what way the championship is shaping up. Of course, Sutton and Cruikshank, 2nd and 3rd in the championship, they are both out, so the maximum, if either one of them was to win the final round, that they could score would be 149 or 142 points respectively. So that means that Lee Scott only has to get over 149 points by the end of today to be your championship winner for 2018.
But what if Ryan Caldwell wins the event?
Well, interestingly enough, if Ryan Caldwell was to win the event and Lee Scott was to come, it would just depend where Scott is. He's currently 45 points behind him going into this championship. However, Scott has now scored points for moving on to the top 16. Caldwell has moved on to the top 16, so that one requires a little bit more work.
You're not quite there yet with that one, no?
Well, I got another job to do.
Back on the line, it will be Philip Hayden now to lead out Dominic Gates. Hayden not doing too much wrong. I've said that before, I've been very, very wrong though. As Dominic Gates is in the chase position. Gates put down a flawless lead run as he fires it in nice and close to the door, almost over-rotates. Gates has to get out of it. That's a big error for Dominic Gates.
And this is the problem with being over-aggressive through that first corner, Ian, is that it's just so tight, it's so difficult already that trying to be aggressive, there's plenty more circuit to do that, and I think these guys need to just hold back that little bit, controlled aggression, and bring the fight through the final sections of the circuit where it's less likely to be caught, to get caught.
Yeah, but a few mistakes there from Hayden in the latter part of that track. You could see him, he dropped clipping point 6 and made a dive across the circuit, which completely shut the door for Dominic Gates, giving him no option but to straighten up. Not sure what way the judges will call that. But it does look like the decision is potentially in. And the judges' scores drop into the system. Oh, judges wanting to see a replay of this one, Eddie. Not quite clear cut. As you can see here, Gates look almost over-rotated. You can see him back out of it. Completely straightens there. Has to clutch kick to get back into it. Hayden on a good line. You can see him slowing down there for the outer zone 3. good
Yeah.
transition. Gates nearly over-rotated again, then he had to dial on a lot of angle to slow that car down. And this is where, for me, Hayden makes the error. Look at this. Just catches the edge of outer zone 6, but cuts the circuit. So judge is going to be looking at that as if to say, did he shut the door on Dominic Gates? Did he give him the opportunity to put in a decent chase?
Yeah, so while we await the winner of this one, just a reminder that tickets on sale for round 5, which will be in the middle of October. Result coming through, Philip Hayden or Dominic Gates. Who's going through? Is it going to be Hayden? Slide him left for Hayden, right for Dominic Gates. Kieran Hines says Dominic Gates. David and Ryan make it unanimous. Dominic Gates goes through to the top 16. We go back to our judges. Talk us through how you made your decision.
Okay, the first run there, Dominic, yeah, he's a really good lead line, a really good lead line. I mean, it's like would have been up in the 80s if it had been in qualifying, which is what we've been looking for, guys. But Philip in the chase position, he has a good lead line to chase, but yet he doesn't take advantage of that. He falls away, and he just really doesn't have proximity. So after the first one, Dominic takes a good advantage. On the second one there, Dominic in the chase position, Philip has a reasonably good lead line. Dominic in the chase position, he makes an error first of all in the first corner, has a straight in there, and is like 7-3 down at that point on the first corner. But he gets back into it, and he gets proximity through the S's, and he's pulling back points all along, all the time. And by the end of the run, he's back to a 5-5. He's pulled back the disadvantage he's made. He has a bit of straighten at the end, but the straighten at the end is caused by Philip Hayden, because Philip is supposed to be middle of the track when they get over the finish line. But a lot of cars are struggling to do that, especially cars with lower horsepower. But in this case, Dominic in the chase, he is not able to do anything about that. He's going to be on the grass if he stays on the doors. He has to back out of it, so we can't penalise him for that. So he keeps the advantage, or the 5-5 that he had up to that point. So on the first one he had a 6-4 advantage. He takes it over that.
Well, there you go. Dominic Gates getting the advantage and taking the win.
And just while we have a moment, just to go to go over to Dave. Dave, we've seen we've one battle left in our top 32, and just from your point of view, from what you've seen so far, what is it that these drivers could do going into the top 16 that could improve their chances of taking a victory? Where are they going wrong, and where could they be making up some points?
I think a lot of it comes down to split-second decision-making. That's very much what drifting is all about. I mean, you make one wrong move and the run is done, essentially. On this track, it's very narrow and it's line-based. If you're on the right line, you're fast. If you make a mistake, you're going to get off that correct line. You're going to end up trying to cut the course, because naturally in your head you think, if I cut the course, I'm going to get closer. But it's like cutting it on the inside of an apex on a race circuit. You're going to end up getting crushed into the corner, having to stop or slow up, which we watch in front of the clubhouse there quite often happen. And then the lead car just puts the foot down on the correct line. He actually builds momentum and speed out of that corner, and you're left for dead chasing. And then what happens is you get left in the smoke, and then you can't see the edge of the track, and we've seen some guys suffer with that as well. Another big error is the start line. A lot of guys are sort of hesitating, almost waiting for the lead car to leave the start line before they start making the move. And at that stage, they're going to accelerate around the inside of that corner and be gone. You can't let that happen. You've got to make sure that you're coming off the line identically to them, and make sure that essentially you're not letting them into that first corner with a big advantage. Those are the two areas I see the biggest errors happening all throughout the competition. So I think if drivers are going to be, we've seen some great chase runs go in, we've seen some guys manage, but the only time they're getting a good chase run is when they're on the correct line and they're chasing the car in front, not diving in at different parts of the circuit. So if they can kind of hold back a little bit, I know it's natural as a drifter, you panic when you see the guy go ahead. We've seen a lot of battles lost in that top 32, essentially because they've been too aggressive. And it's actually not lost because of a lack of proximity. So it's an important one to kind of get to those spotters and make sure that they kind of calm the drivers down, say just no matter what happens, stay on the correct line and let the other guy make mistakes. And then also to add, we've had some pretty poor lead runs in there as well. So we're not really going to crucify the chase car for not having a massive amount of proximity or getting cut off if the lead car is not on the correct line. So we'll talk you through it as we go, but still room to improve across the whole grid, I think. And probably that Lee Scott chase run, the only real highlight we've seen of a perfect chase run so far.
Yeah, I just want to add there, what I actually like about this track is very, very technical. You can have a big flowing track with big wide open corners which are great for twinning and all the rest, but when you have a very technical track like this, it's very much about the line. I think Dave has mentioned this already, but it's very much about the line. It's very much about the lead car's line. It's also about drivers using their heads. They just can't just dive in, like a natural instinct would be to initiate and get on somebody's door. You actually have to plan a run. It's a little bit like circuit racing. If you're circuit racing, you want to overtake someone, you're planning your overtaking move, maybe a corner, 2 corners before, because you know where you're going to be. But in a track like this, you actually have to have the same approach. You need to know where you can attack and where you need to hold back. It's very, very technical. I think it's going to be really good. You know, we've seen battles as we get further up the bracket now, and we get the guys who are, as I'm saying, using their heads and knowing when to attack. I think we should get really good battles at the ends. And it's not just like a battle as in a car on a car. It's a battle of heads as well, to a point of tactics and how you approach the circuit. I think it's very interesting. It's a different type of circuit that we're used to, and it's very refreshing, and I'm quite enjoying it myself here.
I think also just to mention quickly is that a lot of good drivers are going to find themselves in very awkward positions here, either behind the lead car that they're not quite confident in, and they don't have much room to maneuver. And even in the lead position, a couple of those drivers making errors and having to adjust through the one. I think it's probably, I'd go as far as to say, the toughest course this year. It's not the bravest or the fastest, but it is one of the most technical and the toughest. And I think if you make a small error, I think what we've looked at so far is it can be very unpredictable, because you can get a little too brave here and get yourself caught very badly. And I think even though the decisions we're making are based on criteria, some of them are being made on very big decisions, or very big mistakes rather. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. We're looking forward to it.
There you go. So that's the judges' look on things, and just one more battle to go in our top 32. But let's go focus on to our final round of the championship. That will be in just over a month's time at Rockingham Motor Speedway. Tickets on sale now. shop.thebritishchampionship.co.uk. One not to be missed. We're going to build 2 grandstands. Get online, buy your tickets, get your grandstand tickets. We're calling it the Invasion. Well, listen, I'm going to let you at home and here in attendance kind of work that one out for yourselves. I'm not giving anything away just yet, but listen,
it sounds to me like there's people coming to this event.
There might be some people coming from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Listen, that's all we're saying, Eddie, about that one. But if you can't wait for Rockingham, or if you're in the local area...
You Brits know all about invasions.
We know all about invasions. If you can't wait that long, get down here tomorrow. A track opens at 10 a.m. Tickets on the gate all weekend. If you can't wait that long, well, we will be live 12:15 tomorrow with our pro qualifying session, a top 24 tomorrow. Listen, we watched some pro practice earlier, and those guys were sending it door on door. Very, very excited to see what happens tomorrow in our pro competition. But I do believe we may have an interview with our first place qualifier, Tomas Falvey. So we're going to head down to Nathan. Nathan, you're with the first place qualifier.
Well, hello there, guys. So, as top 16 prepares to get underway, I've got quite an interesting battle here before us. We have Mr. Falvey over here. Now, you were top qualifier during today's drifting activities, correct?
That's correct.
And we also have to the left of me this young whippersnapper over here. And I believe that you won the Drift Cup, which got you a ticket to get here today, correct?
Yeah.
Which is quite nice, really, so you're going up against each other. You were at Ali Tyson. Do you know what I mean? The greatest battles of all time. Maybe we've got another one sat here right before us. Are you going to win, or are you going to win? Who's got this? Have you got this, or is he going home with the gold?
Well, look, the Drift Cup is one thing now, but Nathan, BDC's a different story, so look, we'll put it in there and see.
Them's fighting words, they are. It basically says you ain't got the beans for it. What do you have to say in reply?
I've got the balls for it. I can get him.
He's just got big kahunas down there, big balls. I haven't got that myself, but it must be nice.
Go for broke.
I like it. Well, it's all heating up here. We got big balls, we got medium-sized balls, we got red cars and yellow cars. I wish you all the best, chaps. Let's get underway and let's get this spring cooking. Oh, it's all nice here.
Well, there we go. Nathan doing a sterling job, and you and him found some sort of relationship, Eddie.
Yeah, look, we matched on Tinder, and it's gone from there. So,
well,
look, we got one more spot in the top 16. It's going to be Nerijus against Harry Kerr.
Still not brave enough to come out of it yet, Eddie. No.
Yeah, look, more letters in that surname than the alphabet, and too difficult to try and pronounce. It probably end up, insulting his family. But as a higher qualifier, Nerijus is going to take the lead, and in the chase position is Harry Kerr, 14-year-old in that chase position and doing the right thing, holding back. Now, can he poise his attack? Can he get himself onto the door of Nerijus in that S14 through the final sections?
Oh, Nera just dropping wheels though. Harry Kerr following him. Naturally, the chase car will follow the lead car's line. The little bit of separation and potentially the advantage that Nera just had in that lost on those wheel drops.
Yeah, Nera just, of course, in that Skyline rather than the S14, and Harry Kerr. Yeah, just it looked as though he'd done the right thing here. He kind of held back, made the perfect attack on the first corner, not getting caught up, but then just starts to lose the ground in.
Yeah, lost a little bit of ground, stayed in it though, but this is for me where it all went wrong. Nera just gets into it nice and early on Lunar corner, but washes way deep. Look at that, drops both wheels over the edge of the curb. Not what the judges want to see. Clearly stated in the briefing and in the criteria earlier that was to keep all 4 wheels on the black stuff. And Nera just there, just taking full advantage of all the circuit.
Yes, the Plough Championships is later in the year, so...
Those guys pull back to the line though, and it will now be Harry Kerr to lead out Nerigis.
Oh, and you can just see, he can sense it. He's feeling confident, he's feeling pumped as they line back up. And Harry Kerr now with the job of trying to pull a gap on Nerigis, and he's doing so right from the off here, but he does have that big error. Nerigis will have his spotter in the ear telling them, you can probably afford to lose a little bit of ground here. Just don't make any big mistakes. Almost dropping a wheel, but not bringing the fight. Now starts to put foot to floor, and Harry Kerr takes it nice and wide once again, but Nerigis is right there with him, applies the pressure, and they cross the line. And for me, a pretty clear-cut decision in over the 2 runs for that one. One final spot in the top 16. We need our judges to make the decision, just to confirm it, but I think for me, looks as though Neri's just doing it enough over the course of the 2 runs. Who's going to take it, Harry Kerr or Neri's just for... And it is Neri's just going into the top 16.
So we go to our judges for that one. Judges.
Yeah, I think he just outcarred Harry Kerr on the first run. Just no pace from Kerr there, didn't really do anything wrong. But on the second run, Kerr gets the advantage on the first half of the course, but then cuts the corner very badly, allowing Nera just back into it. He gets the proximity and he gets the win. There
we go, Nera just taking the win and moving through to top 16. Now, this is it. The first battle of our top 16 kicks off right here. It will be Tomas Falvey, the first place qualifier, to take on Andy Frost. Andy Frost, your 2018 Drift Cup champion. Has Frost got it in him to take down the first place qualifier and that Drift Games S15? Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah, big words from Tomas Falvey saying that, Drift Cup is one thing, but BDC is another level altogether. And if you want what I got, you got to come take it from me. Look at the aggression straight from the off here from the Iceman as he throws it onto the door of the Drift Games S15 of Tomas Falvey. Big straightens though from Andy Frost in that chase position, and a spin, Ian, to round it all off.
Yeah, look, the pressure, I think, going up against someone like Tomas Falvey, who's on form. That car is nothing to be messed with. I think Andy Frost just had to put everything into it, and unfortunately, a big strain between clipping points 2 and 3. Tried to make a dive onto the door. Judges looking for a replay, though. Maybe something we didn't see. Untoward with Falvey, but look at this for me. Nice diving onto the door from Andy Frost. Gets into it.
Yeah, then has
and
to,
then it's
has
here.
to back
Look at
off.
this. Look, big straight, and has to reinitiate. Starts to gain some proximity, and then it's here. He fires it onto the door. Falvey, yeah, look, he's not on throttle at the point that Andy Frost spins.
Yeah, but I'm wondering though, was Andy Frost on a 10-0 already? Disadvantage that is from that huge straight through the midsection of the course. I mean, he was straight for 100 meters easily. Well, they're discussing it, and they are actually arguing, over this one as we release the second half of this battle. We're not sure which way it's going in, but Frost to lead in Falvey. We've seen Falvey making these errors in the chase position in the past. What will he do this time around as he looks to take it through to the Grade 8?
Well, for me, Falvey looks very cool, calm and collected, and he actually looks like the Iceman, if I'm honest with you. Look at this, keeps decent proximity to Andy Frost, as Andy Frost now is going to just cut the course, and again straightens massively as he comes over the line, and Tomas Falvey looking very strong in that chase position.
Yeah, for me, I'm thinking Falvey over the 2 runs, but could the judges see it a different way, and could they So the judges' decision is in, and it looks as though, yes, unanimous, all 3 judges in favour of Tomas Falvey. No need to go back to them on that one. Pretty clear cut. Those mistakes made from Andy Frost in the first run means Tomas Falvey moving on to the Great 8.
Well, listen, Eddie, it is a drift championship, not a straight line championship, and unfortunately, we need you to drift. Moving it on, Matt Walker to take on Paul Cunnington. Paul Cunnington said earlier on he was hyped and he was ready for action and he was having it today. Well, can he take down Matt Walker? This guy has seen plenty of people like Paul Cunnington in the past. A place in the Great 8 awaits for one of these guys.
Yeah, look, and this is an interesting battle. 8th and 9th in qualifying, so these 2 guys are very, very well matched right now around this circuit. Matt Walker, we have said it, Ian, so steady and such a great line driver around this circuit. Paul Cunnington going to have to try and negotiate.
Yeah, Paul Cunnington making a huge error there already, completely shortcutting clipping point 2 and driving straight through it. Judge is going to be watching that one very closely as Matt Walker does a sterling job out front, and Cunnington gets back into it, but
I'm going to go out there and say that Matt Walker is one of the most talented drivers that we have on the grid here. I mean, in an underpowered car, his line is perfect and he very rarely makes a mistake. This is just coming back to a replay on our screens now if you're watching at home, where you see Cunnington making this cut of the circuit. Yeah, quite a substantial straightening there. Ian, and
that's
very well
guys,
spotted,
Eddie. Yeah, that's 2 guys making the same error in the same place in the chase position. We've seen Andy Frost get knocked out. Could Paul Cunnington's weekend almost be coming to an end right now as we get those guys back on the start line?
And this reverts back to battles where we talked about, you know, I think it was with Jack Shield and Lewis Mitchell, and rather than being out-carred or outpaced, it's outlined. Matt Walker finds the fast way around that track because he stays on the right line, and Paul Cunnington, look how focused he is now on the task at hand here in the lead position. What can he do? Walker holding back a little bit and now makes the dive, and very sensibly just not getting caught up with the lead driver while they're on transition. And you can see he's not making the mistake of straightening through that 3rd clipping zone. Just puts on that little bit of angle, and it's enough to do it. Right back in it now and straight onto the rear bumper of that S14 of Cunnington, and Walker showing why he is so far up the championship order this season. Another really strong performance from him in the chase position.
Yeah, Matt Walker, sorry, doing a very, very good job in that chase position. Decision is in, though, from our judges. Very simple for them. Who's going to take it through to the Great 8? Left for Cunnington, right for Walker. Kieran, David, and Ryan make it unanimous. Matt Walker gets the win and advances through to the Great 8. And again, no need to go to the judges on that one, Eddie. A huge straighten from Paul Cunnington means that, listen, you're going to knock yourself out of competition. And this is where we see the chase drivers taking themselves out of the competition.
And it's exactly what the judges were saying. And we got to move on, though, to, again, another important one in terms of the championship. Lee Scott taking on good friend Stephen Fitzgerald. These 2 guys, a wealth of experience behind the wheel. Similar horsepower, but at the moment, Lee Scott, the man to beat. The man everybody's talking about. Can he take down fellow Irishman Stephen Fitzgerald? Big gap off the line, and again Stephen Fitzgerald just get caught napping. Interestingly as well, those chase drivers have to take the longer route around that circuit to try and initiate into that first corner. Can Stephen Fitzgerald close the gap here through the final sections as he puts foot to floor and creates a massive cloud of smoke? But now he's getting lost in the smoke from Lee Scott, who has just put on a clinic once again. Perfect performance from this young man. Is there any chink in his armor? We are yet to see it.
Well, like you say, Eddie, Lee Scott puts down an absolute clinic in that lead position, and Fitzgerald, yeah, like you say, didn't take full advantage of jumping off the start line. It was said that he would, that the chase car would be allowed to ever so slightly creep off the start line before the lead car, knowing that they would have to fall behind.
And if anything, being encouraged as well.
So Dave Egan's got his hand up like he's at school. Dave Egan?
Yeah, it's been polite. Just a quick note on this start line. It seems to be a big error for guys in the chase position who are used to being in the lead, spinning wheels off the start line to start drifting early. But if the guy you're going up against comes off the start line without doing that, you're just losing from the start. You're just spinning wheels. So it's a poor move from a lot of these chase drivers.
Yeah, so there you go. Chase drivers not taking full advantage of what they could potentially have. They're back on the line, though, and Stephen Fitzgerald now sits in that lead position with a man that's going to chase him down. And look at this, look, Fitzgerald smoking them tyres like Dave Egan said, and look at that.
Yeah, Scott straight from the off though, like a dog with a bone. He is. Look, there's just no stopping this young man, and he is so good in the chase position. He's not worried about getting caught up anywhere. Perfect transitions back and straight onto the door, and now he's starting to bully Stephen Fitzgerald, wheel to wheel, bumper to bumper as they cross the line. Wigan makes some noise. That is a man who has had his Weetabix this morning. That is a man who is confident, and that is a man who is going to take some beating.
Well, score is in. Can he be beaten? Left for Fitzgerald, right for Scott, and there you go. Unanimous lead. Scott gets the win and advances through.
Yeah, pretty clear cut as well. You know, that chase run from Lee Scott giving him the advantage. We move on to the next battle, and another spot up for grabs in the Grade 8. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Josh King? Is it going to be Garrett Rogers? King qualifying in 5th position. Rogers a few spaces down the order in 12th. R33 Skyline going up against E36 BMW. And we are ready on the line to send these two drivers. Josh King, higher qualifier, leads them in. Here we go, off the line. Inside line here for Josh King, nice and fast, and Rogers tucking in nicely now. Nice gap here for Rogers just to try and work with something if he can just keep and match the pace of Josh King in the lead position. King, though, foot to floor early, through the S's, and now again back on the power straight away and just ever so quick through the circuit in. No opportunity for Rogers to try and formulate an attack.
No, unbelievable lead drive there from Josh King. I mean, unless I didn't see something that the judges did, that was just phenomenal. The pace in that BMW E36 is just incredible, and I think Gareth Rogers underestimated how fast he is. Look at this nice initiation from Josh King. Sets himself up perfectly on the transition, gets into the outer zones. Nice transition into the outer zone 4, and then look at this, stands on the accelerator around Luna, gets into it, absolutely perfect, very nice line. Not as deep into 5 as what we'd like to see, fulfills all of 6, but yeah, look at this, no sign.
Potential wheel drops there from Garrett Rogers as well as he comes by clip 6. And they are back on the line, ready to go for the second half of this one. Gotta say, from where we're sitting in, Josh King with a sizable advantage going into this one. He pulled lengths over Garrett Rogers. Garrett Rogers needs to do something similar.
Yeah, Gareth Rogers really needs to stand on it and make it happen right now if he's going to, but he's barely drifting right now, it's Gareth Rogers. But a wheel drop there from King on a wide transition now. King gets out of it ever so slightly. He's a little bit unsure. King not sure what he can do, if he can get on the door or not.
Yeah.
As he starts to make the dive.
Not the easiest lead line to try and chase, and very little smoke been created by Garrett Rogers. I think Josh King, you know, doing enough there for me. Certainly good proximity towards the end of the run, and I would imagine he will be progressing through to the Grade 8. So the judges' results are in. Who's going to be? Slide him left for Rogers, right for King. Kieran, David and Ryan. Kieran says Josh King. David and Ryan agree. Josh King goes through to the Grade 8. Again, a pretty clear cut, a sizable advantage and a gap pulled on the lead run, meaning Josh King gets the win. So the next battle on our screens and on the start line for you guys here in attendance, Ricky Lawrence taking on Jack Shield, and Lawrence, that second place qualifier. Shield down the order in 18th, but hey, he did manage to take down Lewis Mitchell, who had out-qualified him. Off the line, Ricky Lawrence would love an opportunity to get into the Grade 8 and get one step closer to 2 podiums in a row, but you know what? Jack Shield might have other things on his mind as he tries to formulate an attack here. Jumps right onto the door nice and early, now makes another dive down the inside and goes wheel to wheel, but just has to back out of it in, but straight back on the power as they switch back for the final time, foot to floor. And Jack Shield has brought the fight here in that little E36 compact. A little bit of separation across the line, but certainly good proximity and aggression from Shield over the course of the run.
Yeah, very, very good chase run there by Jack Shield, and serious amount of proximity as they transition into the centre of the circuit. Look at this, off of the start line, you can see Ricky Lawrence gets the car sideways. Shield, though, not taking that opportunity and dives onto the door nice and early. As Shield then, a nice shallow transition, almost a straighten though, in the middle of the circuit, makes a big dive here as they come into Luna, and again, snappy transition, gets into it. Big clutch kick, Ricky Lawrence, very nice lead line from Lawrence.
Yeah, look, I think it's got to be said that the you know, the chase run from Shield was very good. Allowed the opportunity to do that by a really strong lead run from Ricky Lawrence. So now they switch around. It's Shields' task to try and match that. He's got to put in an equally good lead run and hope that Lawrence doesn't have an answer in that chase position. But Lawrence is showing real signs of aggression here all weekend and mastering the craft of being a perfect chase driver.
Yeah, Ricky Lawrence taking full advantage. Up
Yeah,
to
but
wheel,
getting a little bit caught up with the Caribbean.
Unbelievable dive from Ricky Lawrence now as he sticks into the door, but that error of that wheel on the curb could be enough for Shield to take the win as Ricky Lawrence makes contact with Jack Shield across the line.
Real aggression. Ooh, do you know what? Interesting one. Two guys really pushing it to the limits and trying to force the error, force the issue from the other driver. Not sure which way the judges will be going on this one. Be interesting to get their thoughts on it as we await the winner. Is it going to be Lawrence? Is it going to be Shield? A space in the Grade 8. Judges' results are in. Slide him left for Shield, right for Lawrence. Kieran Hines says Ricky Lawrence. David Egan says Ricky Lawrence. Ryan making it unanimous. Ricky Lawrence going through. Guys, an incredible battle from these two young warriors, but Ricky Lawrence getting the call.
Well, you know what? That's the best battle of the day so far, Eddie. Amazing stuff from Jack Shield. He took the advantage after the first run, but Lawrence had a very good lead, which left him in the fight. On the second, you saw it there. Lawrence took huge risks and just about pulled them off. Could have been a massive impact at times, but he actually put an incredible chase run on there and enough to take the win just about.
There you go. Ricky Lawrence taking the win and moving through to the Grade 8, and we keep it going again. Andrew Earl now to take on Mike Lardner. Earl very, very strong today, and coming off of that podium at round 3, he's feeling super confident.
Yeah, look, he's looking like a new driver and looking like a new man behind the wheel. Very confident. And you know what? Sometimes just getting those battles under your belt and a big gap again off the start line.
That wheel spin from Lardner. Lardner made that foul mistake that everyone's been making, and that's spinning the wheels off the start line and not using the grip. What a spin
makes a
from
spin.
Lardner.
Yeah, handing the advantage to Andy Earl, and gotta say, another driver giving Andy Earl a big advantage. But we saw what happened on his top 32 battle with Ryan Cooper, making mistakes in the chase position and sending that one to one more time. Will he have learned the lesson of that, Ian? That's the real question. Will the team be on the radio and telling the Dublin man, look, just hold back, you have your 10-0. Play it easy. You don't need to lose it in the first corner. You'll pull your proximity back throughout the course of the run. But yeah, look, from the chase position, these guys got to be thinking, you can't give yourself that much of a deficit through the first corner. So, Ian, feeling a little bit cold here beside me? I'm feeling perfect. Lovely sunshine here that we got in Wigan, and we've been blessed. You know what, there's some nice bright skies and a little bit of clouds, but we got our fingers crossed, and we're hopeful that that's going to hold out until tomorrow and keep some good action out on track. They are all but ready to line back up. Andy Earl in that Glen Bay Westlake Tire PS13, ready to take to the circuit in the chase position. No wheel spin from him, and he maintains a good close proximity and very sensible. He's definitely learned from his mistake in that top 32 chase run, and just keeping it at a safe distance behind Lardner here, knowing he has that advantage. All he has to do now is just keep that car on power, on angle, and on the track, and he is going through to a Grade 8. And what a season this is shaping up to be for Andy Earl.
Yeah, Andy Earl, very, very sensible, like you said, Eddie, and yeah, you know what, for me, Earl just doing enough to keep himself in the game. Let's make it unanimous. Andrew Earl gets the win from all of our judges. No need to go to our judges on an explanation. A spin is a 0, and unfortunately, no overturning that from Mike Lardner. We keep it going. This next one, though.
This is huge.
This is big for the championship. Right now, Ryan Caldwell to take on Martin Cowley. Now, Martin Cowley looking very, very strong in his chase position and his lead. Can he take down Ryan Caldwell? Ryan Caldwell needs to progress through the competition to try and jump up the order.
Yeah, look, Ryan Caldwell, if he wins this battle, he's going to be taking a good hold on second position and keeping that fight alive for the championship. However, coming up against Martin Cowley here has been very, very quick on the circuit. The forward bite in this 14 is just incredible through the final pull, and he is right there with Ryan Caldwell.
Oh, look at this.
He throws it onto the door, but loses a little bit of ground, getting caught down the inside,
oh,
but switches
Cowley.
it back nicely. Look at this from Cowley.
Look at Cowley. Oh,
bullying Caldwell. contact.
Yeah,
oh, and
too
it's
much.
to his demise.
Too much.
To his demise.
Yeah.
Cowley, I think, just getting caught by the occasion. He knew Caldwell was going to be aggressive in the chase position. You could just see bumpers hanging off that 14. Got to give him props, though, Ian.
Yeah, listen, look, watch this on the replay. Very, very good chase driving from Martin Cowley up until that point. You can see, didn't wheel spin off the line, kept his cool and gets into it nice and early. Caldwell on a very, very good lead. You can see Cowley taking full advantage of that as he dives in now at clipping point 3. Caldwell on a nice line as he transitions into Luna, and this is where Cowley starts to get aggressive. But look at this, he's scrappy. He's not thinking about what he's doing. He pushes Caldwell almost off circuit and forces himself into an error eddy, and that's it for him.
You know what, one way or another, a good learning experience for Martin Cowley to go up against, you know, a driver with the reputation of Ryan Caldwell, and you know what? He'll learn from that.
He will learn from that now, because I tell you what's going to happen right now. Ryan Caldwell is going to rub the door of his car and say to him, buddy, this is how it feels to have it done properly. Mark my words.
Yeah, he's going to rub the door off that S14. Here we go. He's going to have to, bit of wheel spin off the line, but he stays right there with him, bumper to bumper now. Will he hold and just wait for his attack? No, he jumps straight into it. Look at this from Ryan Caldwell. Jumps onto the door of Martin Cowley as they switch it back through the midsection. Will we see a dive down the inside? Poised and ready for an attack. The big switch now, but you know what? He needs to get a little bit closer here.
But don't forget, Ryan Caldwell already has a 10-0.
Yeah, has that advantage. And
he doesn't need to
push the boat at that, you know, too much. But certainly, things getting a little bit exciting through the early stages of that one. And before you know it, the result is in. Cowley or Caldwell, who's going through? Kieran, David, and Ryan, all in favour of Ryan Caldwell moving on to the Grade 8.
So there we go, Ryan Caldwell moving through to the Grade 8, yeah, and Martin Cowley. We go to our judges quickly for an explanation.
Just to clear up, essentially on the first, I mean, we looked at Cowley and we looked at how he spun and Caldwell straightening up in front of him. It was just excessive contact. 3 hits pushing Caldwell wider on the track, or even Caldwell just not being able to control the car. He's been hit 3 times, and then obviously Cowley gets all out of shape and spins. 10-0 on the first run, that's all she wrote.
There we go. So you can't be pushing people around, Eddie. It's just not fair.
Yeah.
Up next on the line, we have the final battle in our top 16. It will be Dominic Gates to take on Nerigis. Nerigis looking very, very good in that lead position and the chase. But we have an on-form Dominic Gates. Can he make this a round of the year for him? As they come off the line, it will be Gates to lead in Nerigis. And look at that, Nerigis not spinning the wheels, keeping that car balanced as he sends it in nicely on the door.
Yeah, getting that grip straight down to the tarmac, and Nerigis here looking to be the final driver to make it into the Grade 8, but he loses so much ground. A big straighten from Nerigis as Dominic Gates continues with this real strong performance, qualifying in 6th position as Nerigis tries to get back into this one, but wavering as he does so and making those mistakes in the chase position, unable to match the pace of Dominic Gates there, and I think just outcarred a little bit.
Yeah, not sure whether he was out card or if it was Dominic Gates on a very, very good lead line. I'd quite like to see the replay of that one to see what ensued. As we can see, coming off the line, Nerigis had a nice dive onto the door, but he kind of backed out of it like he was a little bit hesitant. Gates on a very nice lead line up to this point, nice transition into the outer zone, but this is where it all goes wrong for Nerigis. Yeah, it just looks like he doesn't have the speed or the pace in the car to continue on that nice line. And for me, Dominic Gates, very, very good lead line.
Yeah, Dominic Gates really starting to look like a real contender here this weekend now. As you say, qualifying very high and now just looking dominant in his battles, Ian.
Yeah, and you could just see Nerigis in that car shaking his head. He knows he made a huge error, and it's all to play for now. And we have a very, very, very on-form Dominic Gates. Dominic Gates going to be looking to try and seal the deal here and find himself in his first Grade 8 of the year. As they come off the line, it will be Nerigis to lead out Dominic Gates. As Gates now fires it in at good proximity, stays with it though this time.
Yeah, needs to make a statement here as well, because we've seen some of our you know, other drivers go into that top 8 with with very aggressive chase runs. Now Dominic Gates with the opportunity to throw it onto the door here. Nerigis just can't seem to find that real tight proximity that he's looking for. Not making the same mistakes though that Nerigis made in the first run, so maybe a good team and a good spotter in his ear, just letting him know, just get yourself around the circuit, and you know, spotting the Grade 8 awaits. So,
just wanting to see a replay of this one. The judges, as Nerigis fires it in at Gates on a nice line. It was just the initiation.
Yeah, I think the result in, and All three judges in favor of the winner, and going through to the Grade 8, it is Dominic Gates. Dominic Gates going through to the Grade 8. He takes the final spot, and we are left with 4 mouth-watering battles here in our Grade 8 in. It is really shaping up to be a tense and exciting finale to this round 4 of the British Drift Championship here at Three Sisters in Wigan.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we move it along to the next battle of the day, the first of our Grade 8, which will be your first place qualifier, Tomas Falvey, to take on Matt Walker. And Falvey, he's not putting a foot wrong so far, Eddie.
I think this is his biggest test to date, coming up against Matt Walker, because Walker doesn't make too many errors. Falvey can be amazing, and he can just mess it up at times. I don't know, he can just be beaten by himself. Walker doesn't make a whole lot of errors, so this one really interesting straight from the off. Falvey with a nice weight transfer entry through the first section, and Matt Walker right there with him now. Can Falvey start to open up a gap in the Drift Games S15?
Wow, look at this
from Matt Walker.
Unbelievable dive from Matt Walker. Now, can he continue that pace as Falvey gets into Luna and stands on the accelerator? Matt Walker, he's going to wobble ever so slightly to stay on a decent line. Falvey stays in it, and Walker, unbelievable chase there from Walker.
Yeah, gotta say, steady lead run there from Tomas Falvey as well. So this one, a very exciting battle between two guys who are really just perfecting this art this season. Both drivers have just come on so well throughout the championship, and I for one would like to see Matt Walker in a more competitive car next year. How about that? Like, what would he be able to do in that S15 of Tomas Falvey? I'd imagine he would be almost a world beater.
Yeah, it would be very, very good to see him jump into something like Tomas Falvey's car and see what kind of potential he has. But you know what, for me right now, he's doing a very, very good job in that E30 BMW, and understated, should we say. You know, he turns up and people really think, that guy's not got a chance. But look at him right now as he looks like he may potentially have a little bit of an advantage in the first half of this battle. As they come off the line, it will be Matt Walker to lead out Tomas Falvey, and Tomas Falvey almost hitting the back end.
Yeah, but Falvey getting a little bit caught there, getting himself caught, and needs to try and just ease himself back into this one, not panic. It's a long run. Now, this is where he needs to just start to turn the screw, but it's all falling apart for Tomas Falvey in the chase position. Yeah,
Falvey, no proximity. He needs to stay on the accelerator and try and get back on the door of Matt Walker's BMW, but Falvey can't seem to find the proximity, making a few errors in that chase position.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's all she wrote for Tomas Falvey. Matt Walker, as we say, he's such a steady driver, doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, and that type of consistency is what gets you into onto podiums and into you know, the final 4. It makes you a contender in a championship over the course of the season. Certainly very exciting, the form that we're seeing Tomas Falvey on. Will it be Walker? Will it be Falvey? Kieran Hines says Matt Walker. David Egan says Matt Walker. Ryan Potticari says Matt Walker. Matt Walker is going through to the Grade 8. Quickly back to the judges. Matt Walker getting the call over the 2 runs.
Yeah, good runs from both drivers. In fact, it already comes down to Falvey's chase run. Makes an error come into the first corner and then has a very poor line through the midsection. On Matt Walker's day, with making no mistakes like that, that's going to cost you the run, and it did for Falvey there. So great runs from Matt Walker and Falvey, but Walker having more class over the 2.
So there we go, Matt Walker getting the advantage and going through to the final 4. Up next, Lee Scott to take on Josh King. A very on-form Lee Scott and a very on-form Josh King. This one, for me, could swing either way. Can Josh King take down your current points leader and your 2018 Irish Drift Championship Pro-Am winner? Well, he's got a big weight on his shoulders, but no other better man to do it right now. As they come off the line, it will be Scott to leading King. And look at King right there with him. He knows he can trust Lee Scott. And he certainly does that as he transitions nice and early. Lee Scott on it though, but look at Josh King. Josh King right on the door as Josh King transitions again. He needs to find that pace. Can he get on the door of Lee Scott's E46 BMW as Scott puts in an unbelievable lead line, but look at Josh King all over the side of him.
Josh King, a round of applause, because that was impressive, going up against one of the best at it, and you know, showing no fear, no signs of intimidation, and almost bullying Lee Scott. Lee Scott now will have his team in the ear telling him, you've no choice, you have got to go door to door. Side by side, some mind games as they head back up to the start line, and I am excited for the second half of this one. Ooh, we have a fight on our hands. It wasn't perfect proximity the entire way around, but he has given Lee Scott a lot to think about here, Ian.
Listen, there's one thing to note, and that is that Josh King's car is very fast. I'm not taking it away from Lee Scott's car, but Josh King is quick round here. If Lee Scott makes an error, Josh King could drive away with this. If he hasn't got the similar proximity, this could be Josh King's, and we could see our current point leader bow out of competition.
Yeah, Lee Scott just gives the signal to say, you know what, relax guys, I got this. They leave the line. Will it be Josh King to take down Lee Scott, a man who's been undefeated in terms of time? But look at this. Lee Scott tucks in nice and tight from the off, gives a little bit of a gap and then makes another dive down the inside. It is blow for blow here at the British Drift Championship Pro-Am competition. Scott tucks in. He's got better proximity through this section. Does he falter as Josh King sets a wheel up onto the curb across the line? It's close, Ian. It is damn close between these two drivers. I'm not going to say who I think has the edge, but I think one of these guys has a slight edge and just a little bit more proximity. There is hairs in this one.
Listen, this is a very, very close one, and judges deliberating this one, not a clear-cut decision. For me, Josh King, like I said, his car is fast, and I'm pretty sure Lee Scott was caught with that one. I don't think Lee Scott thought that car was as quick as what it was.
That could be his biggest challenge of the day in terms of, matching pace.
The biggest mistake was the wheel up on the curve from Josh King on the inside. He kind of avoided outside zone 5 and 6 to try and shortcut the circuit.
Yeah, and look, it prevented Scott from getting real proximity through the final section as well. So that's our 2 cents, Ian. Judges might see it differently. Scott is out of the car over to assault Josh King.
A very, very good battle for both those guys. And
judges still deliberating this one, Ian, which, would make me think you just never know. And Lee, helmet on top of the car. Whatever you do, don't drive off without it. We see it so often, guys just tearing off with the helmet left on the roof. Looks class. So a nervous wait for both these guys. Lee Scott goes into the final 4, and you have to feel as though it will be his championship.
Listen, it's one thing to note that if Lee Scott gets the win and goes through to the final 4, the only other person that is close to taking him in the championship that's in the Grade 8 at the moment is Ryan Caldwell. So Ryan Caldwell is the only other person that could challenge him in the championship.
Let's look at a potential scenario, okay? Lee Scott goes to the final and faces off Ryan Caldwell. The winner gets 50 points. The loser gets 45 points. Going into this round, Caldwell was 45 points behind Lee Scott. If he was to win, and so here we go. Who's going to go through to the final 4? Will it be Lee Scott? Will it be Josh King? Slide him left for King, right for Scott. Kieran Hines says Josh King. Whoa. David Egan says Josh King! Ryan Potticari says Josh King. It's unanimous. Whoa!
It's unanimous. Josh King gets the win.
And Lee Scott has been beaten. Judges, what the bleeding hell?
Calm down, Ed. Okay, so what you've got there is 2 exceptional drivers, 2 exceptional set of runs, okay? Great chases, great leads. However, 2 things that slightly separated it. One was the finish was much stronger from Josh King. He was right on the back bumper, Lee Scott, all through that high-speed, brave section at the back of the track. Scott fell off a little bit at the end. In our opinion, they were both very close, but King gave us a wow moment, or 2 wow moments in the run, where he actually risked losing the run to make sure that he won it. Scott was in his zone. He was amazing as always, but King just pulled something incredible out there on his runs, and a very worthy win. Just about, though. Very, very close on a technicality.
Well, there you go. Josh King taking the win and taking down your Irish Drift Championship Pro-Am champion and our current point leader. If that doesn't blow the championship apart, I don't know what does. It's what I wanted. It's what you wanted, Eddie. Let's move it along. Ricky Lawrence now to take on Andrew Earl for a place in the final 4. Andrew Earl has already tasted that champagne this year, and you know what? He can feel it already on his lips. He sits alongside a very on-form Ricky Lawrence.
Yeah, look, and I think the rest of the guys are going to be inspired by what they've just seen. In they are looking at now a real opportunity to take top step on the podium. This is huge for the championship. Only 2 men have stepped foot on the top step. One of them is on your screens, Ricky Lawrence, but Andy Earl has been not too far away. He's been on the podium. Can he take down round 3 winner can he force an error in the chase position here from your Driftland driver? He's still in this one, but he just hasn't got that proximity on Ricky Lawrence, who is putting in another quick run through this circuit. And he is just coming out of the cobwebs as a really impressive driver this season.
Yeah, Ricky Lawrence is really putting it all out there. And Andrew, for me, a few mistakes, one of them being on the initiation. As we wait to get the replay right from the beginning.
Yeah, Earl just looked as though he failed to produce it really for me on that run. And
yeah, look at this. From the initiation, you can see here. Watch Andrew Earl's car as Ricky Lawrence fires it in. Watch Andrew Earl brakes massively, has to reinitiate with a handbrake again. By this point, Ricky Lawrence has kind of already got on throttle and started to make a drive away, and then Andrew Earl, another big dive there as he tries to get on it. If you can see him using the foot brake.
Yeah, the car just doesn't look as steady as it looked throughout the morning and the afternoon up until this point, Ian.
No, Ricky Lawrence drops a wheel, but Andrew Earl, he starts to get back into the fight, but then look at this, drives right across the finish line to try and get back on the back bumper. Listen, Andrew Earl's doing everything he can, but I think he's panicking as Ricky Lawrence looks dead calm and collected. As they sit on the line, it will be Andrew Earl now to lead out Ricky Lawrence as Ricky Lawrence tags on the back end of that PS8.
Oh, contact through the first corner.
And look at this, they stay in it as Ricky Lawrence pushes Andrew Earl into the first turn.
And there goes the bumper.
Bumper comes flying off. Oh, and almost an over-rotation from both of them, but Ricky Lawrence balances that car absolutely perfectly. As they come around Luna Bend, Ricky Lawrence stays on the qualifying line.
Yeah, Andy Earl, sacrificed him line there, and oh God, yeah, look, big, well, I won't say big, but certainly contact and aggressive driving there through that first corner, bumper to bumper as they throw it in to the first clipping zone, and it's a real dogfight out there. These guys want this podium. There's only 2 opportunities left in the championship to get it, and right now, this is turning into a very, very interesting championship. A lot of drivers just really producing the goods towards the latter stages. Very lucky that that bumper didn't drop into the driving line of Ricky Lawrence, Ian.
Yeah, listen, Ricky Lawrence, I was just watching what he done there, and Andrew Earl did dab the foot brake as he come to the initiation point. So judges going to be looking at that, and that was why the contact was made. And Andrew Earl did everything he could to try and escape, but Ricky Lawrence was right with him the whole way round. So we are waiting to get the result for this one. It looks like judges still deliberating this. And it looks like the score may be dropping in. Who's going to take it through to the final 4? Will it be Andrew Earl? Will it be Ricky Lawrence? Kieran Hines says Ricky Lawrence. David says Ricky Lawrence. It's unanimous. Ricky Lawrence gets the win, advances through. Judges, we come to you of a quick explanation on that one.
Yeah, similar again. I mean, the runs are great. There's little errors here and there, but they're 2 solid runs again. It comes down to a big error, and the error for us came from Earl at the transition on his when he's chasing. He transitions, almost straightens up a little bit, comes on the handbrake very early. It's not as fluid as we like, and it's just down to those small fractions now that are dividing these guys. Really good runs from both, though.
So there we go. A few mistakes cost him in the battle. We go down to my good friend, and your now good friend,
JK.
Oh.
Sorry.
Well, I'm not a happy bunny. I tell you why. I'm down here with Mr. Josh King. He took out the Southern Belle earlier, Tessa Whittack, and then I thought, you know what? You ain't got a chance, because the main man, Lee Scott's going to come. He's going to destroy you. And then, woo-bang, in you came. He's undefeated, and you're taking him down. I don't like you. You might be attractive, but what's going on next?
Wow, I'm up here now, so I might as well go for the top.
So you're here to win. You've taken out the Southern Belle. You've taken out Lee Scott, the speed machine, but... But I got a secret weapon, Smart Walker over here, and you ain't got a chance. Do you want to just put these things up? You look smart, you look ridiculous. How you feeling? You're taking on the main man. Oh, gee, what in the absolute blue wagon are you doing, sir? Okay, we'll get far away from him, please. I actually wish you all the best. Please take this wild man out of the way. Well done.
Not quite sure what Nathan got himself into there. I've interviewed Matt Walker before, and he's not interview friendly, shall we say.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going. We move it along to the final battle in our Grade 8, and it will be Ryan Caldwell to take on Dominic Gates. This is going to be good. These 2 guys both on form. Gates going to be looking down to find himself inside top 4. Look at this, warms his tyres up first, gets to the line. He's eager. Caldwell, though, sees Scott out of competition and says anything can happen. Anything's possible. If I win this and win this round, I could be
The question is,
close to taking the championship.
Is Caldwell now the man to beat? But then again, we have already 3 drivers in our top 4. Neither of these guys are there yet. They've got to take each other out in order to do so. Caldwell, straight from the off, puts the foot to floor, but Dominic Gates now looks to bring the fight, starts to close that gap. Can he maintain it though? Dials on big angle through that midsection. Caldwell using his angle a little bit more sensibly.
Nice dive from Gates, but
he makes
almost
a big
over
mistake. Big mistake Ian does Dominic Gates make, and it's cost him hugely here.
Yeah, Gates almost over-rotated as they come across the line. Caldwell doing exactly what he does, and that's putting consistent runs after consistent runs. Yeah, listen, Gates, a big error.
Yeah, and look, the judge is discussing that one now, and they're trying to put the weight on just how big it was, and look, loses a little bit of ground off the line and comes back into it. At this point, you're kind of thinking, you know, Gates has got the number of Ryan Caldwell, but here we go. Just where they come into this section and he gets caught massively, makes a big dive, just backs out of it. Judges be looking at the lead driver and saying, you know, was there something there that Caldwell did just to unsettle Dominic Gates in the chase position? We don't have to make that decision. Luckily, Ian, you and me, as they return to the line, you can see Caldwell now, and imagine Dominic Gates just having a quick word with his spotter, just taking his time getting back up to the line and composing himself.
Yeah, you can just see Ryan Caldwell glancing over at Dominic Gates. He's ready for action. Gates knows that he made that big mistake, so he's going to need to put in the lead run of the day as Caldwell now chases down Dominic Gates for a spot in the top 4. Who's going to take it through, Eddie? Oh, wow, what a dive from Ryan Caldwell. Ryan Caldwell right at the door, but Gates keeps his cool and stands on the accelerator now. Caldwell looking to make another dive as he starts to push Dominic Gates into Luna. Look at that, completely sacrifices the circuit though, does Ryan Caldwell to gain proximity.
Yeah, almost gets trapped there as well, Ian, but just has the wherewithal just to get that car back on angle, back on power, and back onto the rear bumper of Dominic Gates. And you know what? The judges are rewarding aggression and moves that could cost you the battle. I think they're going to reward Ryan Caldwell with a spot in the Great 8, or sorry, the Final 4 rather. You know, we've moved through the battle so quickly. I'm not so sure. We got to make the judges do their job. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Gates? Is it going to be Caldwell? Slide them left for Gates, right for Ryan Caldwell. All 3 judges in favour of your winner going through to the Final 4. It's Ryan Caldwell. Ryan Caldwell goes through. Judges, the aggression of Caldwell taking it there, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but also the mistake from Gates. He did the right thing. He tried to dive onto Ryan Caldwell's door as they came towards the clubhouse, but he made a big error. He snapped onto too much angle. He stalled up, had to sort of go back at it again, and that was enough to allow Caldwell and that pace in that car to get away, and that was all she wrote on that one.
So there we go, the over-aggression, just a little bit too much from Dominic Gates. We move it along for a place in the final. Who's going to take it through? Josh King, Matt Walker.
On the way to the line, in look, 4 drivers: Walker, King, Lawrence, Caldwell. Who's taking it? Who's impressed you the most today? Who's the man to beat?
Well, you said Tomas Falvey was going to win, so you've lost all your money.
That's why I'm not answering the question.
For me, Josh King looks like the unstoppable force. He impressed me in practice. He was the first guy out on circuit this morning. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him and Caldwell in the final. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So there we go.
Here we go.
Off
Will
the
you
line,
be right?
we need to decide it though.
Matt Walker might have other ideas as he leaves the line. He's after taking down the highest qualifier. Now can he take down the man that people are tipping to be the round 4 winner? Oh,
there's a problem with Josh King's car.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Josh King's car isn't performing. He struggled. He made a massive dive on clipping point 3. Look at this, it's not on form.
Yeah, it was a big straight line, and then he dropped the wheel, and it just sounds like there's some sort of a little rattle coming from that car. I'm not sure
something's wrong
what it is, but certainly, Ian, I heard it just like you did.
If we go to a replay, you can see on the initiation, watch this, Josh King comes off the line, Matt Walker on the back bumper. King fires it in on the handbrake. Look at this, tries to get into it. You can see him clutch kicking it. That back of the car goes down. Look at that big straight line pull right through clipping point 2, drops a wheel. Eddie, what's he done? Has he lost the handbrake? Has he lost power? Oh, could the end of the weekend for Josh King be over?
You're asking the wrong man, Ian, because
you don't know.
What I know about vehicles, you can write down on the palm of your hand.
Wow,
So they go back to the line, but certainly this very interesting. And look, he's on the start line, Ian.
Well, he's on the start line, so he must feel that whatever is wrong with that car is either terminal or it was human error. Judges still discussing the first half of the battle, though. we are trying to get a thumbs up so we can send them for the second half of the run. But judges deliberating the first half of the run.
Yeah, they're really having a good discussion over this one now. We are ready, sending them. Miles gives them the orders off the line. Now, what can Walker do here this time around? This one could be in the balance.
Well, as they fire it in this time, Josh King, no such problems this time as he clutch kicks the car, gets it sideways. Oh, and again a big error from Josh King, almost straight.
Yeah, that car bouncing on the rear end. I wonder, is it just... Oh, big problems here for Josh King. Walker, though, steady in that lead position. Just doesn't have the same pace as Josh King, but Josh King bringing the fight over the line. And whatever is wrong with that car, he's finding a way to drive around the problem in.
Yeah, Josh King pushing the back bumper of Matt Walker's car. I'm not sure what is up with Josh King's car. I'd love to find out, because it doesn't seem the same car we've seen all weekend so far. Did that problem, though, on the first run, was that enough to see Matt Walker go through to the final?
Yeah, certainly, you know, some errors from both drivers over the course of the two runs. Walker definitely looking a little bit more steady, and a couple of straightens from Josh King, and it does look as though there's something wrong with the rear end of that car in particular. We have no word from our marshals. He certainly hasn't offered up any information to us, but the judges have a decision. Side him left for Walker, right for King, Kieran, David and Ryan. Who's going through to the final? Josh King for Kieran, one more vote and he is going through. David Egan says Josh King. Ryan says Josh King. It's unanimous. Ryan King going through to the final. Matt Walker bows out. We go back to the judges. Talk us through it from your point.
Yeah, it's not as clean as we would have liked from both guys who've been on it all day. Both making errors, both very straight in certain sections of the track too. King, not a great lead run, but he's okay. Walker, though, kind of follows him with the same mistakes and doesn't have any proximity. So we kind of called the first run fairly even. And the second run, King does drop wheels, make mistakes, but King has a hugely strong finish. He's the only driver over the two runs that actually forces the issue, gets on the door and takes a risk. And that was just enough by 1 point to get him through.
Wow, so there we go. Making errors, but 1 point in it, and he gets himself into the final. We move it along. Who's going to join him in the final? Will it be Ricky Lawrence or will it be Ryan Caldwell? Well, listen, Ryan Caldwell would love nothing but to claw as many points as he can away from Lee Scott, and this is his perfect opportunity. But first, he has to go through a very on-form Ricky Lawrence.
I think Caldwell needs to take it to the final, and he needs to take it to the top step of the podium, because coming into that final round, you want as few points between you and Lee Scott as possible. He's only been taken down once in this championship. That wasn't a mechanical error, and that happened just today. So, a spot in the final with Ricky Lawrence looking for his second podium in a row. Here we go. Lawrence lead them in. Caldwell tucks in right there with him, wheel to wheel as they come around that first corner. As Caldwell bumper to bumper as they make contact on transition. Caldwell right back into this one, trying to force an error from the Driftland driver and giving him something to think about in the lead position. Side by side and wheel to wheel, they crossed the line, and you know what? I have been so impressed with the driving that we have seen. We have been spoiled all afternoon today, Ian.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. Ryan Caldwell's chase was just phenomenal, but like the judges say, you can't win a good chase without a good lead, and look at Ricky Lawrence's lead. Absolutely perfect lead run, very wide. Look at that transition from Caldwell, almost takes the back end off that PS13 as they come round into clipping point 4 and then into Luna. Look at this, Caldwell starts to make the dive. Look at nice and wide is Ricky Lawrence, just pops his wheels up on the curb, and Caldwell is on the door and almost making contact as they finish the run up.
Yeah, and you know what, you got to say props to Ricky Lawrence as well for staying in it. He would have felt that contact on the rear end of that car and could very easily have decided, you know what, I'll throw this car into a spin and I'll get myself a 10-0 advantage. But a credit to the character that he is, just kept that car on power and said, you know what, if I'm going to win this and I'm going to go through to the final, I'm going to take this guy down by proving that I'm the better driver. He is right there on the back bumper of Caldwell as they go in. Look at the big dive.
Look at that.
Oh, and a straighten from Caldwell.
Caldwell's car, but Ricky Lawrence stays in it and tries to push him
Caldwell
sideways.
shuts it down, and I'm just wondering, is that a gear problem? Did he struggle to get that car into gear?
Not sure, trying to work out what the issue is as Ricky Lawrence finishes up the run.
We'll try and hear from the marshals just what went wrong with Ryan Caldwell's car, but I think that makes it pretty clear-cut, Ian. And could that mean that we may not have a 3rd and 4th place playoff? Is there a problem with that car of Caldwell? Has it given up the ghost? Could it be that turbo issue? Make it official from the judges, Ryan Caldwell or Lawrence. All 3 judges in favour of Ricky. Lawrence goes through to the final for the 2nd round running.
Wow, so we are just trying to find out what exactly has happened to Ryan Caldwell's car. Our marshal down there just getting the word. And yeah, you can see Ryan Caldwell out of the car having a look. I would say under the bonnet, but he doesn't run one. So, yeah, look at this from initiation. Car starts to go sideways and then, yeah, bang, look at that. Stops drifting. Ricky Lawrence takes the advantage and says, hey, buddy, let's go drifting.
Yeah,
But
if you
Caldwell
if you can't go sideways, I'll give you a little bit of help with that department.
Yeah. I've got plenty of sideways action. I can give you a little bit.
And while I'm here on your rear quarter, you know, it's not a whole lot of effort for me to just give you that little extra nudge. So, we have our final. Josh King, Ricky Lawrence. We got a 3rd and 4th place playoff. Matt Walker to take on Ryan Caldwell if he can get that car back to the line. And it looks as though that is exactly where he is going. He is readying himself for his 3rd and 4th place playoff battle. Ian, before we go to the final 2 runs of the day, or 2 battles of the day, what an event this has been. You know what? People were worried about this track being a little bit too tight, but it has produced some insane battles here this weekend so far.
Yeah, listen, there was a lot of skepticism about was it a good place to come? Was the track wide enough? What was it going to give for us as a championship? And you know look what it's given us. It's given us amazing battles, some very, very good qualifying runs. And listen, for everyone here in attendance and for us, we watched pro practice earlier, and let me tell you, if you think for 1 second that the Pro-Am was enough to satisfy your needs, no way. Listen, the pros were unbelievable. They were door on door all during practice. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And if you are, well, listen, if you can't make it, 12:15 tomorrow, me and Eddie will be live on your screens with top 24 qualifying. If you are local, why not head down? Tickets on the gate all day, and the track opens at 10 a.m. Food, drift cars.
Can I just say as well,
commentary.
if you're local and you've never been here before, you have an opportunity to see it on your screens. Look at the banking all around this circuit. There is not a bad viewing point in the house. The circuit is unbelievable, and we are just hearing Ryan Caldwell is gone. He is eliminated from the competition. The car is not able to run, meaning Matt Walker takes 3rd spot on the podium. Ryan Caldwell moves into 4th position. The championship goes into the final round, but Lee Scott has a sizable advantage over the rest of the grid.
Yeah, listen, we'll just cap off what you were saying, Eddie. Yeah, listen, that banking was full of people, and no exaggeration, by 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning. There was people all the way around it. The locals know exactly what is going on, and you should too. So if you are local, if you're an hour away, if you're 2 hours away, get in your car, drive down. It's going to be glorious tomorrow. We're going to put on a show.
You've got a spare bed in your room. You can stay. People can stay in.
I've got a spare room in my. A spare bed in my room.
A spare room in your bed.
Yeah, and the bar's open till 11. Come down, enjoy some beers with the team, and yeah, listen, it's going to be a good weekend. That championship's not decided. We've seen a complete upset in the Pro-Am Championship. What is going to happen tomorrow?
Well, we could just as easily see an upset tomorrow. I mean, I was talking to Dwayne McKeever earlier on, and I've spoken to him in the build-up to this round. You know, he's not taking anything for granted here. He knows that there are a grid of 40 strong drivers coming for his door. They want to be the one to take down Dwayne McKeever. He has never been beaten on British soil, which is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, we're going to have these top 4 drivers from this round, from this Pro-Am Championship in the Pro Class tomorrow. And listen, people like Josh King and Ryan Caldwell, if he can get his car fixed overnight. Josh King's had more laps around here than anyone else, and he's looking on form. He could contend anyone in that top 24 tomorrow. So listen, if you are at home, if you are miles away and you can't, or if you're in another country and you can't make it, tune in tomorrow live at 12:15. You see me and Eddie here for qualifying, our pro qualifying session. If not, like I say, gates open at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Tickets on the gate, get yourself down. Or you can even book your tickets online, save yourself a few quid, Eddie. How about that?
There you go. Look, you know, saving your money and a pretty face. Ian, you've got it all. But of course, it's not all just about tomorrow. We do have that final round in Rockingham Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
The Invasion.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away. Let's just call it the Invasion for now.
Yeah.
We don't know who's invading.
There's going to be
somebody.
there's going to be chariots. There's going to be all sorts of crazy British things that I just can't understand. And you know, you guys know how to do your invasions. We'll leave it there.
We'll leave that one there
but look,
for another day.
Tickets, as we said, on sale for that round already. And you know what?
Limited grandstand tickets.
We already
as well.
know one championship is going to be decided at that round. I would imagine that there's quite a possibility that the Pro Championship is going to be decided at that round as well. I don't think that's going to be decided tomorrow. So get yourself a ticket, get yourself a grandstand seat, because guess what? It's probably easier to sit down and watch 16 hours of drifting than standing and watching it. So get those tickets online. And of course, be sure to check out our whole new range of merchandise, the Drift Games range, and of course the end of season line for the British Drift Championship clothing. See if you can grab yourself a bargain online, or get down to the shop and talk to Amanda and Jordan, who are behind the tills this weekend, and give them a wink, tell them Eddie and Ian sent you, and who knows, they might do you a little bit of a deal.
No chance.
No chance. Well,
Not
you know
if
what?
Start going over there winking and giving them all that malarkey.
Winking and nods and saying, "Here, lad, give us a few pound off that."
Cheeky, don't be a cheeky lad.
Yeah. So,
listen, talking about upsets, I just want to go back to one thing. Someone's turned up this weekend in a car we've only seen drive once-ish. Went out in practice earlier, and everybody was like, "Wow, he's flying." Darren McNamara has turned up in the Group D.IE PS13, and let me tell you something now, that car is on form. Uncatchable by both of our championship leaders.
You need the only thing that can catch that car is a Pokeball.
Well,
now,
Eddie,
we have more pressing issues. Ricky Lawrence, Josh King, round 4, the final. Who's going to take it to the top step of the podium? Is it going to be King? Is it going to be Lawrence? They are ready on the line. They're psyching each other out, giving each other the stare. Ian, you said it was going to be Josh King. I'm saying Ricky Lawrence is going to make it 2 in a row. They leave the line under Marshall's orders. Here we go. Lawrence to lead in King.
Yeah, look at this. Ricky Lawrence gets on. Oh! Josh King shuts it down. Ricky Lawrence stays in it. Ricky Lawrence absolutely flying. Can King get himself into it again? He makes a huge dive as they transition into Luna Bend.
And look at this now. King bringing the fight now towards the end. Look at this door to door. The speed as they take it around through the final circus. They almost come together and straighten across the line. Oh, I feel as though we have been robbed of what that could have been had there not been the error. What happened? Let's take a look at the replay. Big error from King. It just went wrong in through this first corner.
Yeah, look at this. He shut it down massively. Not sure if he's got a problem with that car and it's reoccurring.
You know what? I think Lawrence could have been slowing up too much there. Could it have been too much of a slowing from Lawrence causing a problem?
You're calling it, Eddie?
I don't know. I'd like to see that replay again. It looked as though Lawrence slows it ever so slightly, and at that point King backs out of it. Look at this, no problem with that car for the rest of the run. He gets straight back on it. Malk's getting the thumbs up from the drivers. Judges wanting to see the replay one more time before they are sent for the final time. Well, certainly judges, this one is very, very interesting.
Yeah, judges deliberating this one massively. And then, I mean, listen, look, Josh King gets into it. Judges, yeah, like you say, Eddie, judges deliberating this one. This could go either way. It looks like they are ready to rock and roll. But before we send them, Eddie, for the final run of the day, potentially. Three Sisters, you had fun today? Oh, come on, Three Sisters, I've asked you to do, I've asked nothing today of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty decent,
We've been pretty decent, we've been good. Wigan, before we send these guys for one last run of the day, I want you to make some noise. Wigan, are you ready for the final run of the day? That's more like it. More noise tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go for the final run of the day. Potentially it will be Josh King to lead out Ricky Lawrence. The door slams on Josh King's car. He slots it in gear, Eddie. Can he put down the run of a lifetime? Well, they're eager for it. Off the line, King, followed by Lawrence. Lawrence on the back bumper and a big dive from Ricky Lawrence. Big dive straight onto the door from Lawrence as Lawrence just throws the aggression at Josh King. Now they come in. Oh, and a big straighten from Josh King. King straightens in the lead position now. Lawrence tries to tuck it back in. Both drivers get the cars back on angle. Lawrence takes it out to the wide line. A big separation as they cross the line in. Not the final we were hoping for. Guys, give them both a round of applause. They have been flawless all day long. And an interesting final. Could we see this one in going one more time? Well, I'm not sure, Eddie. Listen, a few mistakes from both guys. Ricky Lawrence hops up onto the curb. Not sure. Judges wanting to see a replay of this one so they can make their decision.
Yeah, look, for the final run of the day, the judges are going to have to just kind of watch these ones back just a couple of times, just to see where the mistakes were from both drivers and try and weigh the scores based on that. Both drivers out of their cars, having a little chat with each other. Guys, give them a round of applause. Make it loud enough so that they can hear you down at the start line. The final two drivers of the day, they pushed so hard. We want to say a big thank you to our sponsors this weekend, Brian James Trailers, Cosmos Racing Wheel. Reminder, 30% off all their UK line this weekend. Simpson Racing Products, Zestino Tires UK, Monster Energy, Jap Speed, M-Tech Brakes, Funk Motorsport, JDM Distro, AM Details, VP Racing Fuels, Link Engine Management, and Samco Sport. We also want to thank all of you guys here in attendance, because without you guys paying through the gate and supporting the series, we would not be able to keep this series going. You have no idea just how true that is. With expensive bills like live stream and all the staff that's required, everything that goes into these events is just so costly. And you guys coming through the gates, paying to see this in the flesh, buying the merchandise, it's what it's all about. So,
the ultimate question, Eddie. Judges.
Do you have a decision?
We have a decision.
So there you go, Eddie. I'm going to head down to the podium. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yes, Ian, thank you. Look, it has been, as I say, what an incredible day. I'm not sure which way this final has gone. Is it going to be Josh King? Is it going to be Ricky Lawrence? And before we go there, I do believe Nathan Black is available in the pits. Nathan, are you down there?
Hello, I am certainly here. Thank you very much, Edward. You've done a great job today. You really tried your best. I'm proud of you. Yeah, I mean, what an exhilarating final. Like you said, we wait patiently now. We find out if Mr. Lawrence is going to be able to take down Mr. King. Now, I cannot quite believe an hour ago when I was wiping the tears from my eyes when he took down the Southern Belle Tessa. Then he went on to take out Lee Scott. Then he took out that insane man that hadn't had a haircut in 9 months. It was making cat noises and rolling around on the floor. And he's made his way to the final, so it's exciting stuff. But also what is as exciting is if you just come around this way, I've spotted the Northern Smoke Machine over this little hilly brush over here. Thought we were going to have a chat. If you don't, can I just pop through here? Is that all right? Can you hold this for me? Thanks very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello. Hello, young man. No, you can't have my phone number, okay? You're far too ugly for me. Okay, excuse me. You're Mr. Quinn, aren't you? You do the weird stuff on the internet. If you could get far away from me over there, that'd be great. I'm just going to pretend you're not here. How are you, gorgeous? You got a lovely fade there. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay.
That's nice and slow for me again, because I know we like looking at each other, but I haven't got a clue what you're talking about most of the time. So how are you? Yeah, that's about right, yeah. You're like Fred Flintstone, aren't you? You have not been here all day. Where have you been? I was going to come get a quarter pounder with you earlier, but you weren't around. You turned up late. You seemed to be chilling. Talk to me. Come on. Enough jokes. Kevin, can you be quiet, please? Enough jokes now. How are you feeling? You ready for tomorrow? How many is it in a row now? 7?
7, yeah, 7 in a row.
7 in a row. You're going for 8. How are you feeling?
Feeling like 8 in a row.
You're feeling like 8 in a row. I would ask you if you feel pressure, but you'd probably tell some joke to me again that takes me 10 minutes to understand. But you've got nothing to say. So you've got Martin Richards, not a threat.
Who?
Oh, Paul Smokey Smith, not a threat.
Who?
And the other 20 other drivers.
Oh, no, they're probably a threat, yeah. But
yeah, so you're basically in competition with yourself and they're in competition with you. Final words before we get off to tomorrow?
Gonna go for food.
Off for food, what are you having, anything nice? It's probably not a salad, is it?
I was going to say pop noodle, but fuck off.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, it's been a great day. We are currently waiting for... hello, how are you? Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll catch up with you soon, and I'll catch up with you soon, Mr. Quinn. See you later, all right? Hand you back over, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, Nathan. I'm going to make my way over to the podium to do the all-important part of the day. Listen, guys, before we hand out those all-important trophies and spray that all-important champagne, I just want everyone here at Wigan to make some noise for our top 3 finishers. And a huge thank you to all our track staff here at Three Sisters.
but taking third step on the podium with an unbelievable drive, and the man they call the Giant Killer. He might have more than 4 lives after this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for third place, Matt Walker! After a very, very hard-fought day and some very, very good battles, taking the second step on the podium is Josh King, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Driftland's very own Ricky Lawrence on first place. Ladies and gentlemen, from me, Eddie, all the judges, Nathan Black, we will be back tomorrow live at 12:15. We'll see you soon.
We are Funk Motorsport, your heat management specialists. Based in the UK, we strive for perfection, developing thermal products trusted by professional race teams and drivers worldwide. Performance, protection, reliability.
I've chosen to use VP racing fuel since I was a teenager racing motocross, which was 21 years ago now.
I've been using VP racing fuel for years, basically ever since I built my first race car, and you want to get that consistent fuel, it was VP through and through.
Absolutely,
right from the beginning.
that's the brand. Yeah, I've been using VP probably since I was 10 years old racing dirt bikes. There's so many different VP racing fuels to choose from. One of the best go-tos is definitely C16.
So we use C16 in our Formula Drift cars.
I run C16 in all my cars, outside of this one here. The 2 race cars here at the track, we run the C85.
And my supercharged Coyote-powered Mustang that's over in Europe, we use MS-109.
In a Ferrari car, I actually run MS-109.
VP has been making racing fuel for 43 years. They're the official fuel of multiple top series globally. No matter where we are in the world, no matter what fuel we need, it's always consistent, it's always perfect and exactly what we're expecting and our tuners expecting. They support myself, my Drift Alliance bros, and for that, I'm extremely thankful. Keep making amazing fuels, and we'll keep out there having fun.
There's a reason that half the paddock, if not more here, runs Samco hose, and that's that nobody wants to be let down by a split water hose or a split boost hose. And with Samco, there's nothing to worry about.
With using these hoses, we get the reliability, they never burst, we can just rely on them, and that's all we need.
Half of the grid are running Semco hoses in their cars, and there's a reason for that. They're the best in the business.
I'm so happy to be running Samco hoses now, because in the past we have run other manufacturers' hoses and we have had the intercooler pipes collapsing, which obviously when you're under massive pressure on track, you have to be fully supportive and reliant on your hoses.
So a lot of people ask us over the years, you know, what hoses you run. Personally, I can't think of anything better than Samco. They do what they say on the tin, they work, they don't come loose, they don't fail on you, they don't pop. You can't beat Samco.
With over 25 years' experience, Link Engine Management are global leaders in motorsport engine technology. Developed and manufactured in New Zealand, Link has been supplying ECUs, sensors and dashes to drivers around the world. We have a range of products to help you get the most out of your engine, and all of our ECUs come with a limited lifetime warranty. So if you want to upgrade, find your nearest dealer and get more info on our products, visit linkecu.com. Presenting the Link MXS Strada dashes powered by AIM Technologies, 2 devices that work in harmony with your existing Link ECU. Available in the standard or street version, the Strada can show a wide range of data like speed, water temperature, oil pressure and much more, thanks to its ability to read up to 4 analog inputs and 1 digital input. Our dashes come pre-configured, allowing you to get set up quickly and easily. For more information on these and all of our other products, contact your local dealer or visit linkecu.com.